Hi everyone. I'm that 5-year-old Ken Hovind always. Tonight, we're going to showcase videos made by some of the best content creators on YouTube and how they see Ken Hovind in his over 20-year reign of misinformation online. Many of you probably tuned in to see the discussion between Arlen Ra and Ken Hovind live here on NonSequitur. But very few of you know the backstory. So, once again, welcome to the roast of Ken Hovind. I am a 5-year-old. Yes, I can tell the difference between an elephant and a pine tree. And yes, I can tell Ken Hovind is full of shit. Enjoy!
Tuesday debate. This Thursday, next Thursday, a week from no, next Thursday, yeah, 6 days from now. We just scheduled it today. I'm going to do a debate with an atheist on the internet called Aaron Ra, R-A.
My name doesn't have 2 A's in it because my name isn't Aaron. It's Aaron.
Fueled by anger and fear that Aaron would expose their lie, many other notable preachers spoke out against Kent's decision to accept this discussion.
The thing that is the most sickening about it is the fact that he enters into this union. Everybody warns him not to do it. He won't listen.
They can.
He lashes out and viciously attacks everyone who says anything negative about it. And then when it fails within months, he doesn't even have the decency to tell people that it failed.
Let's do another one. Set it up with Rhonda, 855-BIG-DINO, extension 2. She keeps the schedule.
You're a liar, Ken Hovind. You're destroying their lives. Hey, I don't want anybody in my church to listen to that liar, Ken Hovind. I no longer have anything to do with Ken Hovind.
His preaching is roughly effective with no sound.
Same impact. I'm just as affected. Not nearly as entertained.
Are we live?
Yay!
Hey!
Hey!
Hey! Boy, do we have a show for you guys tonight. It's going to get really, really good, really, really fast. Or at least that's what Shannon promised. I hope she delivers. If not, it's all her fault, and we will blame her.
Yeah, I don't blame you for blaming me.
Welcome to the first annual roast of... First annual. I don't know why I said first annual.
Yeah, there will be another one, I don't think. This is a one-shotter.
We can roast somebody different next year.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a
one and done thing. But welcome to the roast. We have we're going to have a slew of people joining us. Some of them will be bouncing in and out as we go along. But right now we have I think we have Steve McRae.
something along those lines. Well, you pronounce. Yeah, you got my name better than Hovind got Arn's
Steve
name,
McRib.
Yeah, McRib. Like
as always, we have Steve, Frankie from the game room.
I'm cheap and tasty.
Geek room.
Cheap and tasty. Shannon Q, as always, because YouTube laws now require that you have Shannon in some form of your stream, whether it be in the chat or the video. We decided to opt with the video. So welcome, Shannon. Thank you for being token.
No problem.
And Apologia, thank you for joining us.
You're welcome. I got stood up, so.
Well, that's exactly.
Your dinner date canceled on you. Yes.
And what the hell happened to Kyle? He froze.
Kyle says he's frozen with suspense. Yeah.
I know.
Dun dun.
Dun dun
What
dun.
happened? I think Kyle was going to ask Paul about who stood him up. So
I
Paul,
do believe that he was.
Who'd you get stood up by, Paul?
How'd you lose your dinner date, Paul?
I was supposed to have a dinner date with the man from down under, Ken Ham of the Creation Museum, Ark Encounter. Going to have a private, intimate dinner. Actually, I don't know how private or intimate it was going to be. But
yeah, that's getting creepy.
But he was going to ask for money. So since I don't have any that I was willing to give to him, it probably was best that he canceled. But anyway, no, if you haven't seen my video posted this morning, I was supposed to be hanging out with Answers in Genesis people this weekend, but they decided that that was going to be a bad idea and that I might tell on them in some way or another. So they canceled on me. I got kicked out of a conference that I had paid full admission for, purely, based on it seems based on what Answers in Genesis wanted. They pulled some strings at the conference to get me kicked. So I'm here now.
You're not their target audience anyways, but I would think that you don't pose so much of a threat where they'd say, oh, we don't even want this guy to attend, when clearly at the bottom they even said on the RSVP, bring somebody to bring somebody with you, did they not? That may not be a believer.
They did, and so there's two separate events going on. There was the private fundraising dinner, and the fact that I deliberately used my real name and real contact information because I didn't want to be accused later of pulling anything over their eyes. I just wanted to see, if they would let their arch enemy in for their fundraising dinner. So
is that what you're billed as now, the arch enemy?
I guess.
Must be.
Father.
Yeah.
But
clearly
nemesis.
But I had actually, had asked some theists in the area if anyone wanted to, people who I knew fully supported Ken but may enjoy filming me getting roughed up or kicked out, just so I can fully play by the rules.
Would have enjoyed that a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But so it seems acceptable there. But then they kicked me out of the Alberta Home Education Conference, which is theoretically open to anyone in the province. And I have, school-aged children, so and I paid my full admission and have been booked in for months. And as Shannon likes to point out, I've been in the news for many months now talking about them. So the group, in fact, with the president of the group on the same show, so they knew about me. And certainly if they wanted to kick me out of the conference prior to now, they could have. But it seems very coincidental that Ken and his company discovered that I was going 2 days ago, and then suddenly I was disinvited from the conference. So it's their transparency and their general moaning about how they get deplatformed and how they get discriminated against is ringing pretty loud for them right now.
Yeah,
especially considering the context. I mean, Paul was on the news back in November speaking about, him speaking at the homeschool event that they were having, and it's the largest homeschool event that they have in Alberta, one of the largest in Canada, if not the largest in Canada. And they invited Ken Ham as the keynote speaker. So he was contacted by the media. He didn't contact the media. The media contacted him, and he was speaking in the media. And after that, we reached out to some homeschool parents. Like, we joined groups and we were like, what do you guys think? And they were like, they said to us, there's more nuance than you're considering, maybe consider educating yourself more. And they were incredibly great partners in that. So we spent months educating ourselves. And one of the reasons that Paul registered to go to the conference was so that he could make sure that if he was contacted in the future by the media, which obviously he was going to be and is, he was speaking on an informed basis. He wasn't going there necessarily specifically for Ken Ham. Like, Ken Ham was there, and seeing him speak was of interest, obviously, but that wasn't the prime motivation. One of the prime motivations was to ensure that since he's being contacted to talk publicly, he was educated on what is going on. And they took that opportunity and ability away from him when he had nothing but the purest of motivations. And that's direct discrimination. There's nothing in his history that would indicate that he had any sort of nefarious intent, aside from the fact that he's publicly criticized Ken, but he's Ken, but he's done so on even ground using the facts, and has never done so in a way that is in any way or could be misconstrued as a personal attack. He's just addressed ideas that he's presented.
Oh, I completely agree with you, but I think that's the biggest threat, though. It's
complete targeted discrimination, and it's very telling.
But that is the biggest threat to them, is when you do attack their ideas. And one of the things like we'll be doing tonight when we're having the roast of Ken Hovind, we're mocking the ideas more than anything. I mean, we want to kind of take this as a lighthearted approach, because people have been asking, is Ken Hovind going to be having another conversation with Aaron? And by the way, Aaron was in here. However, he was here, and he may have popped back in, but he had things to attend to, so he's kind of going in and out. But there's not going to be another discussion, because the criteria that Hovind wants, I don't think that Arn is going to meet, capitulate for. But and that's up to them. If they want to do another channel, whatever, completely their choice. But the things that Kent wants, I think, are unreasonable. And I don't think Arn wants to give him, a half hour of unmitigated time to bloviate. We've all had those discussions with Hovind. I mean, every debate.
Kent needs a script. he needs
Kent needs a script, and so why bother?
Without the script, he's useless. That's why he's so concerned about time.
Exactly. The beauty, I thought, of the Hovind Arn discussion was they were just mono e mono, and we've determined now that in a mono e mono fight, based upon ideas, Kent's going to lose every time.
Can we say hi to my friend the Rhino?
We can. I just dragged his ass in here. So
hello, asshole.
So. Decided to show up. Thanks.
Yeah, I got out of work specifically for this.
Yeah. I know. What the hell were you thinking?
Excellent.
Priorities.
Well, we love to disappoint around here.
Yeah, that's just like my ex-girlfriends. So let's kind of like tell people, maybe Kyle, what the itinerary is for tonight a little bit. We have a lot of stuff planned, guys, so stay with us for tonight. One thing that is mandatory, you might need some alcohol. I bought a special IPA, a double IPA for tonight. It's 13%. It is actually quite good. Your drink of choice might differ, but you will need something because I've watched some of these videos and they're comical, and you might actually just hurt yourself laughing.
Wait a minute. I thought that what I have on the agenda is we are all meeting to discuss what Shannon's first video is going to be.
Oh, you're a dick.
That's,
that's a good question.
By the way, he's like 75 so go subscribe to Shannon real quick. Take your time. Wait.
Subscribe to Shannon. We need her to get to.
Yeah, we'll wait.
Because that means that she is going to have to make a video. And she is only, I believe, about 68 away.
About 70, something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll sign up for 70 different YouTube accounts and subscribe.
Yeah, I already did 500 socks. So, I mean,
that's too much work. But yes, getting back to what we are really here for.
Well, hold on. I thought the real reason we were here was so that Rhino and I could, act as socks and pretend that we're separate people.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm still not convinced you're not.
Wow. I didn't even think
now that I have that mic muted, I can say that I'm definitely a separate person from Paul.
I mean, you guys sound exactly alike. How do I tell the difference? How do I believe you?
Neither of you have spoken separately or together.
Yeah. Oh my God, people are subscribed.
You can't overlap. Maybe we'll have to do a duet later.
Now watch. Paul will shut off his mic, and then Vice Reiner will speak. Watch.
This is
what are you talking about? What are you accusing me of?
Conspiratorial things. It's true.
But yes, first of all, I'd like to thank, on a serious note, everybody that submitted a video for this. You guys did outstanding, and it's just a testament to the community as a whole. I mean, it was above and beyond, and I think everybody that is watching is going to thoroughly love them. We'll go through the list real quick. Frankie from the Geek Room. Obviously, thank you for all of the hard work that you do with us. Prophet Azad, Godless Engineer, Godless Cranium, Tony Reed, The Living Dinosaur, Linda Beatty, Surus the Skeptic. I hope that I pronounced that correctly. Forgive me if not. Godless Geezer, Induku 5, and then Shannon, Apologia, Vice Rhino, and of course, somebody we'll be hearing from a little bit later, Aaron Ra, who kind of made this whole thing possible. So thank you to all of you guys. We're going to jump straight into video number 1, if I could be a more prepared host. And we're going to go into the theme song for tonight's roast. So enjoy.
Yeah, we all know this guy. He's a friggin' ass. Yeah, he calls himself a doctor, but he hasn't passed a science class.
No.
But even
they can. They can hear us.
Are we supposed to comment in the videos though?
I have the song memorized, so I'll do it for you. You're a fucktard, aren't you, Kent?
Frankie,
Logic.
Is there any way to hear this?
Because how can we make commentary if we have no idea what?
Oh, good point. Yeah, in the other videos.
Yeah.
I guess the Flintstones were real, just like the taxes that didn't steal. You're a fucktard, aren't you, Kent? says that science is a lie and the Bible proves it. But what he doesn't seem to know is that Bible that he's claimed to have read has about
I miss
as
Kirk
much
Cameron.
facts as Evil Dead.
Said nobody ever.
Yes, God is for sale. I hope that you fucking rot in jail. You're a fucktard. Orange, you can't.
No catch.
You're a fucktard. Orange, you can't. You're a fucktard. Orange, you can't.
Yeah, you've been working
You're a fucktard. Orange, you can't. I don't think he knows the shit that he believes is just a fucking joke.
I just turned him out of mood to this.
What is really sad is people out there buying into the shit he preaches. Yeah. This one's for you, Kent. Check it out. You're a fucktard. Aren't you, Kent? 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 You're a fucktard. Aren't you, Kent?
Oh, fuck Eric. God damn it. You had to put an Eric. You had to fucking put an Eric.
Triggered! Triggered!
Eric!
Aren't you, Kent? Kent, you're a dick.
By the way, I want to thank the Living Dinosaur for allowing us to use that. He's a great friend of ours, and he promises he will be back to be joining us, not for this particular hangout, but he is going to come back and spend some time with us. He misses us, and that was Sambos from Eddie Goomba. Brilliant version of his song.
Once you
Tribute to
see
Kent.
Kent in a towel, you cannot unsee it. I don't
Oh
think.
my god.
Brilliant version of it.
Look at that guy.
That's what everyone who works for him says.
Oh man. Oh. Vice Rhino. Let's start with you. What was your first encounter, or I know that you've done several videos on Kent Hovind, but what was the one thing that kind of made you decide that he was a target of some sorts?
I think probably because when I was a young Earth creationist, he was one of my big sources.
Like you would cite him?
Yeah, like I actually I used to run an anti-evolution website when I was basically my two sources were Answers in Genesis and
Oh, I can't hear you.
I can't hear him either. I think he said his two sources were Answers in Genesis and Kent Hovind.
my two sources were AIG and Kent Hovind. And when I started making anti-creationist content, I'll tell you where my name came from. Vice Rhino is actually an anagram for Eric Hovind.
Stop it!
Oh, it is.
That's genius.
Does Eric know this?
No, I'm terrible with usernames.
Eric
So,
Hovind.
I
Let's see. I
use
think you're.
anagram.
Oh,
So-
it might be. Yeah.
Oh man.
My God.
I thought we were gonna have to wait for you to have 100,000 subscribers to learn.
I'm so glad it happened on
I got
our
tired of
channel
saying-
though. Exclusive.
Now we know. The more you know.
Wow, that's great. I don't think Shannon still got over that yet. Shannon, you're triggered right now.
No.
She's been triggered for the last 15 minutes. She saw Eric and she lost her
I
shit.
thought it had something to do with the unicorns in the Bible. Like I've been trying to figure it out for ages. I'm a little mad at myself that I didn't figure out that it's an anagram for.
We're not very bright people. That's why. And by the way,
some people on my channel figured it out. But
I want people to know we did invite Hovind to this. That's obviously something you have to do, and we did invite him. And you know, if he shows up, he shows up. But
I'd also like to say that the reason that we're doing this roast is because he didn't show up, or he chose not to show up. He agreed, as you saw earlier in the first video. We want to put that out there first. He did say he was going to come back on, and then he decided that he wasn't. So can't blame him, but still, it is what it is. So, Bryce, before we go to the next video, what would you say that that you think Kent's most ridiculous belief would be, or the one thing that he kind of spouts the most?
Does he still hold on to that ice canopy thing?
Yeah, you stole mine, but we're the same person, so that makes sense.
Ice canopy it's completely, utterly ridiculous. Like, I don't think that even needs debunking at the.
What for people who don't know, what is the ice canopy? Because I would be one of those people who don't know what the ice canopy is.
The ice canopy is the idea that before the flood, one of the things that kept the Earth, the atmosphere was more pressurized, I guess, and so one of the things that kept it more pressurized was this layer, just like an ice sphere around the Earth. And that also kind of explained how there were waters above the waters. Well, the waters above the waters it's the ice shield or whatever.
It was like transparent and held up by mystical, magical forces that nobody even can explain.
Because fucking magic.
Fucking magic. Magic can do a lot of shit. You guys don't underestimate the power of magic. You know,
speaking of magic,
when I took physics, if I didn't know how to fucking do a formula, I just threw an M for magic most of the time.
That's right.
We're staying away from formulas tonight.
Yeah, they're like no, it's not math. That's magic.
We're going to go straight into a little video from Mr. Tony Reed that
I'm all fluttered. I love Tony.
Hello, my name is Tony Reed. I'm a YouTuber who makes videos that examine creationist arguments and see just how well they stand up to the scientific findings. I'm here to pay homage to the man most responsible for teaching me real science, Kent Hovind, the modern martyr for truth. The man who taught me that you can beef up your resume by just calling yourself doctor. Turns out it also helps you get into the better restaurants. The man who taught me that you can stand up to the Gestapo Zoning Commission on safety regulations and lose. Turns out people prefer buildings that don't collapse on them. The man who taught me that you can renounce your U.S. citizenship, stay in America, and still complain about immigration. I wonder why he didn't take it further, call himself a sovereign, and get diplomatic immunity. The man who taught me that you can file bankruptcy as a wage earner, but claim to earn no wages because that makes sense. The man who taught me that the IRS won't take you seriously when you claim that all your money belongs to God. How does that even work? The man who taught me that when being criminally prosecuted for tax fraud, it's a good idea not to offer any defense, yet seems surprised that it took a jury a grand total of 3 hours to convict you, and then used the prison telephone system to discuss strategies for hiding assets and threatening government officials. The man who taught me that a destitute man just out of prison who just lost his home, wife, and ministry can afford to begin construction on a creationist amusement park. So the next time a homeless person asks you for money, tell them to start their own amusement park. That's right. If you think any of this is ridiculous, you're just an unpaid tool of the conspiracy against Kent Hovind, the scientific renegade. The man who taught me to present references for every claim, even if they disagree with you, because nobody is going to read them anyway. The man who taught me that it is one's own duty to redefine scientific terms to fit one's own arguments. The man who taught me I was pronouncing water wrong all this time. The man who taught me that AIDS was invented in a laboratory in Maryland. The man who taught me that the moon's recession disproves an old Earth, even though basic arithmetic proves otherwise. I mean, come on, math. You can't expect anyone to bother with that. The man who taught me to misapply the law of conservation of angular momentum and misrepresent the Big Bang Theory by inciting a giggle at the thought of multiple children being launched off a merry-go-round at 100 miles per hour toward a certain and painful death. The man who taught me that the only thing we can learn from a dead thing is that it died. That forensic stuff on CSI is pure fantasy. You shouldn't be watching television anyway. Get a job. If you think all of this is absurd, it's because you've been duped by the scientific conspiracy against Kent Hovind, biblical scientist. The man who taught me that Adam and Eve lived to be 900 years old because they were vegetarians. All you modern vegetarians are just faking it. The man who taught me that Satan invented the Big Bang Theory. The man who taught me that UFOs are all piloted by Satan. All these facts are undeniable, and I can thank Hovind for teaching me. Yes, I now can count myself among such exemplary scientific giants as Venom Fang X, chemist John Pendleton, and, of course, the illustrious Eric Hovind. All of this because Kent Hovind taught me real science.
Bravo.
Well done, Tony. Well done. That was fantastic.
And you know what I loved most about that?
Vegetarians are faking it now.
Vegetarians are faking it was no. When he said, "Look, Kent Hovind for the last couple of decades has gone under the guise of the fact that we couldn't check the sources that he had. Right? We didn't have the internet 20, 30 years ago when he started a lot of this stuff, and so he could cite anything he wanted. Nobody could go validate it. Guess what? They can now."
Yeah, Google bitches.
Google bitches, and you know what? The citations don't match up. Trust me, I've been there.
Gia, what would you say that your now that since you stole your original answer from yourself in the previous,
right? It was the ice shield. Oh, sorry,
can you,
wrong microphone.
Can you come up with a different one for yourself?
Well, I think the one that he's best known for. It would have to be, you believe you came from a rock. The other thing that Tony didn't mention was Kent's constant strategy of just telling other people what they believe. If he keeps repeating long enough, telling you what you believe, then maybe you will believe it. I don't know. But the you came from a rock when really, of course, the Bible says that Adam was made from dirt, which is much closer to a rock.
But he's right about the water.
Really finely ground rock.
That's good.
It is water.
That's good. But I'll tell you, not to use one of Kent's famous catchphrases right now, but Paul, I just think it's important that you know that even a 5-year-old could tell that you're Vice Rhino. So.
Girls are smart, let me tell you.
Both hidden behind avatars. I'm telling you, that's it.
We are going to go now to Cyrus the Skeptic. I hope that I'm saying that right. If I'm not Cyrus, I'm seriously sorry. Come on, that was good for off the fly.
That was good.
I just wanted to say something, Kent. You're probably the most godly man I've heard of in recent memory. No, seriously. If we're talking about the God of Abraham, who told him to kill his own son, then he later sent Jesus to die, effectively killing his own son as well, and slaughtered humanity in a supposed great flood, then that God, well, I think you're a wonderfully godly man when compared to him. You beat your own son when he was 7 at the dentist office, and that's, well, quite godly. At least Jesus and Isaiah lived to tell the tale. So did Eric, so good on you. You also said before that studies show that homosexuals came from families with no dominant father figure, so I guess you had to try really hard not to catch the gay. I guess what I'm trying to say is, in my opinion, anytime you call a homosexual a reprobate, it's probably a really terrible form of projection.
Damn.
Mic drop. Holy
Someone went for blood.
That
doesn't mess around.
Yeah, straight up.
That's like Ross of the usual roasts on Comedy Central. That was a Ross caliber.
That was a Lisa Lampanelli moment.
Yeah.
I would love to have Lisa Lampanelli roast Kent Hovind. I don't think there would be any. That would break the internet, I think.
Might just.
People are asking where Eric lived. He hasn't been the same since.
Can I just tell everybody that I'm still not okay with the fact that I'm just figuring out that Vice Rhino was an anagram for Kent Hovind? Like, I'm literally like, I'm going to go to bed.
It hasn't processed yet, has it?
Like, I've literally been looking at his avatar going, that's right, E-R-I-C.
Oh, apology. I'm actually considering praying for you right now. That's where we've gotten.
You know what? Do it.
We didn't start this off with a prayer.
He's doing all right. He fares just fine. Don't worry about him, Kyle. He's okay.
And to tell us your favorite Kent argument.
Oh my God, I can't believe it hasn't been said yet. It's the different types of evolution. The cosmic evolution.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh my God, I can't remember them off the top of my head right now.
Cosmic, chemical.
Chemical.
Stellar.
Stellar.
Biological.
Yeah.
Macro and micro.
Macro.
Yes, that's right. I knew macro, micro, and cosmic and chemical. I just didn't. Yeah. His 6 different types of evolution argument is my favorite thing because he still keeps just trucking it out. He just still keeps just presenting it like it makes any goddamn sense. And it doesn't. It makes no goddamn sense, but he's still just like, yeah, that's right. You guys see what I did there?
That's
I did
what
that
you believe.
right.
That's what you believe.
Yeah. You go back.
With such authority and confidence. Like he's like collar popping every time. And you're like,
the Aaron Ra discussion aside, like let's put that aside for a second, but because that was just different because Aaron wouldn't let him go off of that, that one question. But if you were to take anybody that wanted to debate him in one of his standard debates, you could literally go as far back 20 years and pull a video and play it to that person. It would be the same debate. But there's an argument that he uses that I'm really surprised has not been brought up yet. And it just goes to show, I guess, the way that everybody thinks differently. But there's one argument that I think is probably his wildest that I'm shocked hasn't been.
Can I give it a shot?
Yeah.
Wait.
Yeah, Steve can guess.
Well, let's do it after this.
Okay.
I'm gonna Ryan
Okay.
All right.
I'm about to
No
Ryan
spoilers.
Seacrest.
No spoilers.
After the break. Next is Linda Beatty, who I absolutely adore. So all of her videos are, and the links for everybody's channel too are in the description. But she is fantastic. So I think you guys are really going to enjoy this.
Kent Hovind is a terrible human being. He lies, cheats, steals, and will sacrifice anyone, including the people he's supposed to love the most, in order to get what he wants with no discernible morals at all. So basically just following in the footsteps of his god then. And he's also dumb, getting sent to jail for tax fraud and tax evasion, which is so stupid because, as a pastor, he could have just practiced tax fraud and tax evasion legally. But I guess we shouldn't hold the whole tax problem against him, as, like with most creationists, math isn't his strong point. And let's not forget the reason for the tax fraud, the now closed down Dinosaur Adventureland in Florida, which was just like Disneyland, except less based on reality. And unlike with Disneyland, where the last thing you want is for your child to see Mickey Mouse with its head off having a smoke behind the It's a Small World ride with Goofy, with Dinosaur Land, you actively wanted your child to see the T-Rex with his head off shooting up with a surprisingly homoerotic Adam behind the why having sex with dinosaurs is tempting but a sin, definitely not Wet n Wild slippery slide. So that you could say to your child, see, it's not real. Humans and dinosaurs never lived together. Actually seeing two young Earth creationists using drugs as a maladaptive coping mechanism to try to deal with the fact that they have to ignore reality and instead live in some effed up and very poorly thought through fairy tale, which will ultimately lead to a serious drug addiction where they won't be able to work, pay their bills, pay their rent, they'll lose their house, become homeless bag people, and end up dying ill, broken alone in the gutter with no one to care for them at all. And that is why, no matter how much peer pressure there is or how cool someone tells you it's gonna be, you don't do creationism. But the good news is that since getting out of jail in 2015, Kent has been back trying to scam people out of their life savings to get money to build the brand new Dinosaur Adventureland in Alabama, which he promises will bring in lots of money for local businesses. Well, local drug dealers at least. Because, let's be honest, no one who is forced to spend time with someone as awful as Kent Hovind is gonna want to do that sober.
Mic drop!
Ouch.
I can't believe I've never seen her before. She's great. I like that.
Oh,
she's good at cutting to the bone.
She tells it the way it is. Yeah, she cuts to the chase.
She's the best rant I have ever seen in my life.
So what's the moral of the story, though? Don't do creationism, kids.
Yeah.
Got to put a warning on those Bibles.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh,
Pray
that
for
would-
dinosaurs.
If you
to
want to
be
start getting into
terrible.
drugs, hey, knock yourself out. But once you start getting into that creationism, you know your life is ruined. So,
It'll be a picture of Kent, and this is what creationism can do to you. Warning.
there you go. That you know what? If that's not enough to turn people away from it, I don't know what would be.
I know, crappy Hawaiian shirts, and instead of being able to do technical stuff in YouTube videos, you just get a really big TV and put it behind you and just
I'm going to disagree with you. I happen to like his choice of attire. But
By
that's
the
just
way,
me.
earlier when I dropped out, that wasn't like a technical issue. I did that on purpose because I wanted to kind of reinterpret Kent's first interaction with us when he was supposed to have the conversation with Arn the first time, and he had all these issues or anything like that. I just thought it would be kind of an artsy way to bring my style to this.
That's right. I'm gonna drop off and comment on this on some other channel. I'm gonna.
I know, start another stream. on the
I'm
same
surprised Kent's
channel.
not restreaming this on his channel. He should.
He said he might last night. Actually,
Did he?
Yeah.
Did he? Oh, by the way, did he really mention us last night? Because I don't know if you were kidding or not.
No, he totally mentioned the roast last night.
He did. Okay, because I mean, I actually, and I did send his secretary the link. I told her we're having the roast. He's more than welcome to join. It's all fun.
Yeah, but he said he would participate in the roast if he could have half the time. And I'm like, you don't understand. Like, roast.
See, I didn't know if you were being serious. That's how bad it was. Okay, I believe you.
I'm going to try and find the clip while we're.
All right, I mean, I believe you, but
But that is attempted humor that had
Now
to
I'm in
have
that
been
zone where I
intended to.
can't tell if I'm being fucked with or not.
You are not being fucked with. I'm going to find the clip.
No, I believe it's policy comes through. But
You are already lying about us about being two different people, Paul. How
yeah,
do you
that's true.
believe
Yeah, that's true.
Oh yeah, maybe I'll just have Vice Rhino find the clip.
How did Kent? Does it matter? Either you know. But how did Kent find out about it? Because I didn't email his secretary this morning.
I'm sure his people talk about it. Because
Oh,
You guys wouldn't like it's been on Twitter, it's been on YouTube. You've been mentioning it on the streams for a while. There's no way, like he would have been.
As long as Kent's being talked about, I think he doesn't give a crap one way or another. I mean, he's done this for decades. You think?
By the way,
negative
Dinosaur
stuff about
Adventureland
it?
does open in 9 days, I think.
Shut up.
Yes.
Road trip.
9 days.
Road trip.
Free admission.
I told Kent.
You got free admission?
No, everyone gets free admission.
When we,
Oh,
yeah,
we
it's
thought
free to everybody. It's free. That's for real. It's free to everybody. But when we were trying to set up the second discussion, I
Then
told
why
him.
aren't we on a bus to Dinosaur freaking Adventureland?
Yeah, exactly.
I told
We
him,
should be on
I said
that
that.
right
I said,
now.
look, if we will be fair to your, I promise you, we're not trying to do you wrong or whatever. And to prove that, if you get done with the second discussion and you feel like you've been done wrong in any way, shape, or form, Steve and I will come spend a week at Dinosaur Adventureland volunteering. You can do. You'll have 2 atheists there.
There's a little more condition. There was a little more
guys gonna hand
conditions
us
than that.
offers
Just
to, like,
FYI. But yes,
confused-
that's what he's. That's pretty
Confused
much what he.
Christians at Dinosaur Adventureland. Is that what you're gonna do?
Yeah, he promised it for me, unbeknownst to me. And he said, "By the way, Steve, if we don't follow through on this, we're going to Dinosaur Adventureland." I'm like, "We are."
He could have fun with it.
I
He
will
could've
go
put-
with
but
you.
Kyle
This is
speaks for
what it
me,
looks
and so
like
it's
to
fine.
volunteer at Dinosaur Adventureland. Like, do you guys just hand
I'm
out
okay with
popcorn
that.
to like sad, confused people, or like?
I would
do
be
you
out there
say,
propped
no,
like-
sorry, the real amusement park is actually 5 blocks that way.
Yeah.
Or
No, honestly, Sam, I would be out there if I had to go because I would keep my word. And if Kyle made that promise, we would figure it out. And I would go down there, no question about it. But I would do street epistemology.
no, you have to actually do it. You have to buy into it. Like,
I would do
No,
karaoke where the only song you can pick is "You're a fucktard, aren't you?"
Do I?
just walk around like with a boombox, like Ghetto Blaster style, just like you're just logic. Logic
I'm in the shower too, actually.
Actually, we'll steal another one of his lines and just go, "Don't worry, Kent. Eventually, it will evolve into a good song."
just ask strangers,
It's
have you
already a
ever
good song.
seen a dog give birth to a giraffe?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I had actually potentially a
Digits.
creation.
Just do that.
We're gonna have to, Steve. We're gonna have to
I would pay $20 to let for them to let me walk around and do that.
he might do it. Kent, if you're listening. But look, we have to, Steve. We're gonna have to get to your what you think the argument for Ken is next, because we went. And
mine was just the simplest one. I mean, Ken's biggest argument from day one is that dogs don't produce non-dogs.
No, that's not even it.
He's a man.
Damn it, Steve.
Not even it.
Couldn't do it. Fuck.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
That is
But
a
it's
good
not
one.
the one that I'm thinking.
All
I'll
right,
tell
nope.
you what it is next. I'll tell you what
All
it is
right,
next.
all right.
Next we have
Land, so we don't know. We like to be spontaneous.
For the record, I put the link in our chat here for the Kent talking about this roast. So if someone can play that at some point, we got it.
And by the way, do go subscribe to all the people that we've had so far, including the Bible and otherfairytales.com, and tell her hi for us because she did a wonderful job making that video for us. That was great.
Yep. But make sure that we get Shannon to 1,000. I want this show to be going on when Shannon hits 1,000 subs, and we get to decide what her video is.
She'll have like a minute there.
Ready?
Do it.
We're back with a film that broke amazing new ground in the field of giant egos.
Well, it's an honor to be here tonight in Tennessee. My name is Kent Hovind. I taught high school
Oh,
science.
great. It's that chiseler who comes around every couple of months selling light bulbs and soap.
On creation, evolution, and dinosaurs. And I tell people right up front that I believe the Bible is the infallible, inspired, inerrant word of the living God. I believe
Didn't know you could actually get a degree in mad science.
It says Kent Hovind. And for those that don't know, the Bible is your basic instructions before leaving Earth. You really ought to read the book because you're going to be gone for an awfully long time.
had better special effects than this.
Wow. Imagine if we were watching Birdemic right now instead of this.
Imagine if we were watching Cement Harden right now instead of this.
Is to be ready always
Oh,
to give an
that would
answer
be
to
so
every man that
wonderful.
asketh the reason of the hope that's in us. I think in the last few hundred years, the Christians have not done a good job of answering this evolution theory, and we've allowed this philosophy of evolution. Actually, it's a religion.
Yeah,
we've
lick
allowed
my
this religion
salty
to take
thigh.
over our school system, our legal system, our banking process.
You have to be better at ripping than that, or this whole thing collapses on itself.
I'm sorry.
We've been offering $250,000 for anybody with any real scientific evidence for evolution. That offer's been out there about 12 years now. There is no evidence for it whatsoever. People believe in it, I understand.
Film students take note how to add a minute to your movie without advancing the plot in any way.
In the Word of God. Number two, if you're not saved, I'm going to try to get you converted. I'll tell you right up front, I'm after
This
you.
is
Okay,
great.
I'm not sneaking up on you. I'm after you. All right.
Speaking of,
Number three,
It's
if
far
you're
too
saved
easy
and
to
you're not
imagine
doing
this
much for
guy
the Lord,
standing
then I'm
behind
gonna
his
try to
van
make
with a
you
fake cast on, convincing women to help him move his couch.
You know where we're going now. Okay. Okay, this is not my wife. That's just a picture of her.
Wow, his stand-up routine is terrible.
Last summer was our 31st anniversary, and we sat down and figured out how much money we have spent since we got married.
Not his wife anymore.
We have spent all of it.
That's the motto of the Republican Party.
We live in Pensacola,
Damn
Florida.
Democrats.
Hurricane Ivan about blew it off the map. But we're having a good time rebuilding down there. I have 3 children, 1 of each, and I got them all married off, and the dog died.
Michael Vick must have produced this movie.
Free. It is wonderful. And for those that don't know, we now have the whole family working in a ministry there.
Meaning
four
they
grandkids
enslave
so far.
them
And
for
those
their
who
own
don't understand
purposes.
this, grandkids are God's reward for not killing your own kids when you thought about it.
You know, if this ends with him pulling a cord that dumps water on him as he sexily arches his back, his bad jokes will all have been worth it.
Really?
Yeah, I'm just saying what everyone is thinking.
We want to do
I think so.
Not everybody's
strengthen
thinking
your
that.
faith in God's Word. We want to change people's worldview. There are 2 ways to look at this world. That's called your worldview.
Oh,
How do you view this
okay.
world? Some people look at the world one way, and some look at another way. We'll talk about that in a minute. But the way you view the world determines how you will answer the 4 great questions of life.
Whatever they
There
are,
are 4
I'm just here for the
fundamental
vulnerable
questions that every
chicks.
single religion on planet Earth tries to answer. Who am I? Where did
That's why I
come
went to
from?
church.
Why am I here? And where am I going when I die?
We have a question,
The way
too.
you answer those
Are you
questions is
accredited?
totally
Can I see
determined
some
by
ID?
your worldview.
I notice you're not
Some people
displaying a
look at the world and
diploma.
say, you know, it's amazing. A Big Bang made this from nothing. That's the humanist worldview based on the evolution theory.
Yeah, this is
Other
clearly
people
just a
look at the world
coloring
and say,
book.
you know, there's incredible design. There must be a designer. That's the creationist.
His
worldview
research
based
looks like
on
something you'd find at a 4th grade book
And those
fair.
2 worldviews are at war with each other. I mean, somebody is wrong. And I enjoy showing them who they are.
Well, I guess you can push a rope uphill.
92 debates now I've done at universities. One here at UT Knoxville against Dr. Pigliucci.
Keeps calling you Satan for some reason.
He will, but I'll be honored. You know, the guys I debate are a lot smarter than I am. But I slaughter them because I'm right and they're wrong.
Oh, hey, movie, you got to pass out barf bags before
But if the
throwing a line
evolution
like
theory is
that at
true,
us. Come
How
on.
would you answer the 4 great questions of life? Who am I?
Well,
And
if
what
this
am I
takes
worth?
up time that would have otherwise gone to
Well,
another
evolution
joke,
is
I'm
true.
all for it.
You're nothing important. You're just a piece of protoplasm that washed up on the beach.
Well,
You're not worth
that was a waste of good meat.
Actually, you're part of the problem, you see, because you are one of the polluters of the environment.
We poop
And the more of you
everywhere
we can
on
get rid of,
anything.
the better. See, that's normal thinking if evolution is true.
According to the logic I just pulled out of my ass.
Well, if evolution is true, you came from a cosmic burp about 20 billion years ago. Why am I here? What's the purpose of life? Well, if evolution is true, there's no purpose to life, so you might as well have fun. If it feels good, do it.
And we all know what that
Where am I
means.
going when I die?
I don't know. It just sounds like
Well,
a
if
lot of
evolution is
naughty
true, you're
somehow.
going to the grave, and you're going to get
Really
recycled
not.
into a
Okay,
worm.
better luck next time.
Well, I tried.
But see, the Bible says, in the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth.
Somebody
Now, if
actually
that's true,
wrote that.
that
It wasn't
puts a
so
whole
much written
different
as it
set
was
of answers to
crapped
those
out.
questions. That means we better try to figure out who
Proof
God
on
is
every-
and find out what he wants and do what he says, because he created this place, which means he owns it, which means he makes the rules. We better find out what he wants. And if
Sure
you're not
that's going to
obeying his
appease
rules,
old
you may be in
Smites a
trouble
lot
one
up
of these
there?
days. We're going to get into more of that later.
Oh, hell. We're going to have to hop aboard for more whimsy, aren't we?
Afraid so. Better gird your loins for the little good old-fashioned hijinks.
Ah, please don't say loins. Please.
I like science, folks. I collect science books, and there's a lot of good science in these books, but there's some poison mixed with it. It's kind of like the rat poison. It's not the good food I'm against, it's the poison.
Taco Bell's least successful slogan.
I need a boy and a girl who would like to learn the scientific way to shoot a rubber band.
Oh, the Texas State
Okay, that
IQ
boy right there,
test.
come on up here. And one girl. Let's get one girl. Come on. Way back there. Okay, hurry, run. Let's go.
Excuse me, don't you mean,
Scientific way
go,
to
go,
shoot a
move,
rubber
move, move, come on, people!
What's your name, sir?
I don't have any lines.
Josh, how old are you, Josh?
Still no
I was 10
lines.
for
It's a
a whole
union
year
thing.
one
They'd have
time.
to pay me more.
That's amazing. I was supposed to be 11, but I was sick for 3 years when I was 2.5.
You're not
Okay.
funny.
Bring out that
How old
other
are you gonna be when
guy!
you're almost 12.
What?
11. And how much does your mom pay you to be good? So you're good for nothing, and you're 10.
Oh, our banter's off to a good
Pick a rubber
start.
band out
Just
here,
mind if
Josh.
I knee him in the groin?
Okay, the brown one. And what's your name, ma'am?
Corn was
Laura? Pick a rubber band out of there, Laura. You want the pink one, of course. Oh, girl. Okay. Now, what I want you to do,
Of
Josh and
course,
Laura,
you bitch. Fuck
we're
you.
going to stand here and shoot the rubber band down the center aisle.
There's murder in his eyes. I like where this is
That one won't work.
headed.
That's a double one here. Let me try. Try an orange one here. That's two tied together. You can see that. Okay, Josh, shoot the rubber band down the center aisle.
Ow,
Pass the
ow, what
table.
the hell, man? What'd I
too
ever
far.
do to you?
Laura, give it a try. Come on.
Ow! You
Ooh,
shot
3
my
rows back.
ween.
Now watch
Ah,
carefully. I'm gonna
that's
get
just
down
not
same size as
cool.
you guys. And I'm going to show you the scientific way to shoot a rubber band. You ready for this?
Do we have a
I want you to notice
choice?
Now, my fingers do not leave my hand at any time.
I'm mesmerized right now.
You believe that?
No, right.
Okay, now pay attention. See the
Now,
This is
put that
really
Harvard
gonna
degree to good use.
Ow, oh, my eye, you scratched my cornea.
I'm
gonna sue you for that.
Now, probably right about now, you're thinking of a question that has 5 words in it. What question are you thinking of?
Oh, I know. Will you shut up now?
You do that.
Right,
See, I told you it had 5
exactly what I
words,
was
right?
thinking.
Right.
Now, before I show you how to do this, I want to explain something. Some kids should not learn how to do some things.
You snap one weenie with one wet
Because they
towel
become
and people
what's
get
known
all
as a menace
sensitive.
to society. Who's responsible for this kid right here? Where's your mom and dad? Is he safe with this information? Mom says no. And who's
Mom,
responsible for this one here? Where's... Nobody? Oh, back there. Did your husband come?
Oh, another great joke. This movie just
Okay, now
keeps
pay
them
attention.
coming.
The scientific way to shoot a rubber band, okay? There are 2 sides to the rubber band.
Which is so
Are you with me so far?
non-surprising that it really
One
doesn't
side
warrant a
represents your
comment.
flesh, that's your body, okay? The other side is your spirit. Now, your spirit has to live in your flesh, or else
Could you
you're
write
dead.
this down for us?
See, if your spirit ever leaves your flesh,
I'm going to leave
You got a
now
real
to try to
problem,
beat
man.
traffic.
actually the neighbors do, okay?
Do you
But what most
validate
people do wrong in rubber
parking?
band shooting and in real life, they put the same emphasis on the flesh and the spirit.
You're going to make this look
If you
good
play
in
both sides
post,
the
right?
same
I'm
and
sorry,
let
I
it
can't hear
fly,
you over the sound of our
you could
director
watch it in slow
sucking.
motion. The both sides are going.
He's
And
got
all
a
the energy
douchey
is
gesture
wasted
for
inside
every
the rubber band
occasion.
because the flesh and the spirit are fighting with each other. So, the secret to high-speed velocity through a fluid medium such as the atmosphere, which offers resistance, is to minimize or eliminate the turbulence.
It's all sciencey. Don't worry your pretty little audience heads about
Okay?
it.
All I did when you guys weren't watching was stretch one side tighter than the other.
Wow, he's cooler than David Blaine.
Excellent.
No, don't dance, please, I beg you.
What's going to happen if you do
He has
it right,
the dignity of a
spirit leads
rodeo
the flesh,
clown.
takes away most of the turbulence, and it goes much farther.
Owie.
You shot me. It hurts.
So, when I'm up here with a whole pile of rubber bands, knowing I can hit anybody in the room,
And by that I mean mad with power.
it gives you this feeling of power that some kids
there it
really
is.
just don't know how to handle. You know what I'm talking about?
And so Kent used the moment to seize power,
let's give him a
held
hand,
a
have a
show
seat,
trial,
guys.
and
Thank you
dished
so
out death sentences.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why you should be a theist. Okay.
Right there.
I love
That's
the Mystery Science Theater style to it. That was great.
Rubber bands proves God. Let's go home. Oh wait, I'm home. Never mind.
It's
I'm
weird
homesick.
because you kind I don't know about anybody else, but you have moments where you start to like, oh, Kent's not so bad. He's actually kind of being overly cheesy, and then he gets to the points where he's like, this is the flesh, and this is salvation, and then you're like, oh yeah, now I remember.
Yeah, he
why.
loses the plot point after that point. By the way, that was a Kidney 5. Those guys are hilarious. If you guys do not know about Kidney 5, go check out their channel. Just so underrated and undersubbed.
Okay, so the argument that I was going to bring up for Kent, that I can't believe hasn't been brought up yet, is kinds. Kinds.
So true. Because he won't define them himself, though. He'll use
but
them.
Mine was similar. I mean, dogs not having non-dogs is similar to kinds produce kinds. Okay, whatever.
Steve's example was Kent's definition of kind.
Yeah, that's literally what it was. I mean,
Rhino.
A kind is a dog not producing not. Thank you, Paul. I mean, Rhino.
Can rhinos produce paws though?
Rhinos can produce paws.
Obviously. I can attest to that. I seen it. I was there. Were you there? I was there. I was there when it happened.
Vice, why does the rhino wear a bow tie? There has to be a cool story behind that too.
Because bow ties are cool.
Yeah, what's wrong with bow ties?
Because
Whoa,
Matt
whoa,
Smith's
whoa.
Doctor Who. That's why. Because Matt Smith's Doctor Who.
There's no bow tie hate here.
No bow tie hate.
If
Actually,
you went through
because
the
11.
trouble to
I
do
did
the
not
Vice
choose
Rhino
the
with
bow
Eric
tie.
Hovind, you would think that means that he has a reason for every little nuanced thing that's on there. I mean,
Not on this one. This is a lazy boy who asked his fans to make his art.
Oh,
I thought we were
somebody's
roasting
being
Hovind.
elitist today. Oh, my goodness.
This is taking a turn here.
Vice Rhino is the coolest thing to ever come out of Eric Hovind that has ever been. So, you're welcome, Eric Hovind.
I don't know. I've seen some things come out of Eric Hovind that.
Yeah, it really took a turn. Timestamp so we know where to edit, please.
Okay. This one's good. This one's really good. Let's go with Godless Geezer next.
Oh, okay, I haven't seen Godless Geezer before.
Some people say evolution's not true, that science wants to make a mere monkey out of you. Do you live on the planet that I live on? Yeah, do you live on the planet that I live on? Because there's pseudogenes and atavisms, fossils and homology, ERVs and embryology, organs and behaviors which are vestigial, phylogenetic trees, cytochrome C, and there's human chromosome 2 with its centromeres and telomeres, species distribution which prove evolution. I could go on. Everything you've said I've already heard, though I don't understand a single word. But I know evolution's the devil's lie. Yeah, I know evolution's the devil's lie. Because Blah 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 blah.
Oh my God.
That's not what the Bible says. Blah 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 blah. That's not what the Bible says. Blah 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 blah. That's not what the Bible says. That's not what the Bible says.
651.
I'll explain evolution if you give me a few, then you'll know why it's really true. I ain't got time to hear about your sin. I gotta speak to a crowd, I got souls to win. Listen, crowd, evolution's a lie. Those who believe go to hell when they die. Yes, why are you raising your hand, sir? I just have one question. Are you living on the planet that I live on? Yeah, do you live on the planet that I live on? Because there's pseudogenes and atavisms, fossils and homology, ERVs and embryology, organs and behaviors, which are vestigial, phylogenetic trees, cytochrome C, and there's human chromosome 2 with the centromeres and telomeres, species distribution, which prove evolution. You foul spirit of evolution, I bind you now, and I command you to go. Leave now. There's pseudogenes and atavisms, fossils and homology, ERVs and embryology, organs and behaviors, which are vestigial, phylogenetic trees, cytochrome C, and there's human chromosome 2.
Auto sub.
That was awesome. Simply awesome.
Oh my God, that was good. The blah 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 Bible.
Blah 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 blah. Bible.
There's so many catchy songs in this roast. We need a soundtrack almost.
You should release the post Kent Hovind roast.
Oh, I gotta tell you, this is gonna be my favorite video on this channel so to date. Yeah, I'm thoroughly enjoying this. This is great.
This is the best.
I haven't seen some of these videos. I gotta admit, I saw a lot of them, but I didn't see all of them. So I'm enjoying them for the first time. Oh God, they're awesome.
Speaking of something, I think we could touch on real quick with the evolution and creationism thing. That happens to actually be Paulogia's specialty. So, Paulogia, what do you have coming up on your channel that you? I don't want to give any spoilers, but do you have anything that you're working on right now?
Two things. I mean, one, if you're watching my channel, you probably are aware that Eric Hovind made a movie. It took him only 7 years to do it, but it's 2 hours. So but part 1 and 2 of my debunk of his movie Genesis Paradise Lost. It shouldn't even debunk. It's just examining the science, and that series is specifically made to be as friendly to the audience who believes the film as possible. That's my new tact. With his Genesis history, I was a little bit too sarcastic, so we're doing that, and that's going to be a long series. But the other thing I would plug is that Tony Reed and I are doing a science video together.
Nice.
So we're also looking at some older Creation Today on the Eric Hovind theme once again. There's some old Creation Today claims that Tony, if you can believe it, there's a few things that Tony hasn't covered yet on his channel. So he and I are working together.
He's at 80 videos, so that's a lot of coverages are done.
Am I allowed to give other collab spoilers?
The one for
yes.
Do tell, yes.
Okay, well, we've already had the amazing Vice Rhino on the channel
That's your boyfriend, though. He's there
in my first takeover. Well, yeah, obviously everybody knows that they're the same person, so everybody knows that. But we're having somebody whose last name might be Stick.
Oh, P-Stick. P-Stick. I don't want to give it away, but P-Stick, right?
And somebody whose last name might be Duck.
Daffy?
Yeah, that's obviously what I meant.
We might be able to figure that out. I mean,
yeah, somebody whose first name starts with a C and last name is Duck might be coming on soon to debunk some Eric Hovind specific claims.
Is there any
that
plans
have
for
to prove-
Zod yet? I mean, we have the voice of Jesus here, Tony,
and the voice of Eve,
and the voice of Eve, and the voice of
of
Tony,
Adam.
voice of Adam, and we unfortunately we don't have the voice of the Holy Ghost. That would have been cool. Was it Tipton? It was Tipton.
Yeah, we're working on part 3 for where
We got that script today.
Zod has told me he's going to find a bit part for me because I don't have one of your guys' voices, but he wants a bit part for me. I'm going to do an automatopoeia. I just want to be like the voice of the wind or something, or like a tree.
Whoosh.
That's it,
I'm just putting it out there right now. I'll do a takeover with Zod, with Prophet of Zod, whenever he is by far the most undersubs channel on YouTube.
I agree. He's
period.
highly
Full goddamn stop. Like his manuscript video that he put out like yesterday was just amazing. Like he does the most amazing.
He's right up there with the Dark Matter.
Phenomenal.
Why he's not up there yet, I don't know.
Interestingly enough, he is the next video up. Zod, are you here?
I think he was. I seen him in the chat.
Zod, he was in the chat.
I have to take off now, so thanks for having me on.
Thanks, Paul. I mean, Rhino.
This dual microphone
Thanks,
setup is
Rhino.
very confusing, so I'm gonna cut it down to 1.
All right.
Dear Rhino.
Yeah, let's get Zod in here. He wanted to drop in. I know he had some other stuff to
Yes,
do.
Zod. I love him.
Okay, I get that impression. If he's still in the live chat, let's invite him in here. But yeah, I do agree with you. He's highly understubbed. He should be right up there with Dark Matter 2525 easily.
Since we're all pitching to Prophet of Zod too, I don't know if you have any like NASCAR characters or any bad characters with a horrible country accent, but I'm your guy. If you have a character that wears a wife beater and has a Dale Earnhardt hat, I'm your guy.
Prophet is in the live chat, so if he wants to message us on Skype, we can get him in here. Zod.
Well, while we wait to see if Zod's going to come in, let's get to Zod's video.
He's at work.
So we are going to start that right now.
I've spent a lot of time feeling ugly feelings about Kent Hovind, so after a little reflection, I thought it might be therapeutic to say something nice about him for once. Thus I present you my 5 good things about Kent Hovind. Number 1. He pronounces the word water like a champ. The word is clearly spelled W-A-T-E-R, not W-A-D-E-R, so it's nice to hear someone treat the English language with a little dignity. Number 2. Hello. He's willing to be a little salty. Most Christian celebrities think they're above using what they consider bad language, so it's refreshing to hear Kent say things like,
Moving water automatically sorts particles. It's called hydrologic sorting. You ought to know about that.
Just one of the guys, Kent. Just one of the guys. Number 3. He gives us science we can use. While most creationists are too busy justifying the Bible to make any actual advances in science, Kent uses his know-how to teach us practical things, like how to dig poison out of seeds so we can eat it and not have cancer. Number 4. He has the decency to cover his cold sores after sucking dick. Number 5. He's true to his roots. Kent realizes that God filled the Bible with apparent contradictions to weed out people who want to deny him in their heart anyway. Because if the Bible just made sense, people who wanted to be atheists might be convinced to believe, and that would be a bad thing? Anyway, I used to think Kent was just a dumbass who didn't know shit about science, but it turns out he's just following God's example and using apparently bad science to make sure people who want to mock God don't get helped into heaven by good scientific evidence. So thanks, Kent, you goofy bastard, for making the world a more colorful place.
Thank you, Kent.
Do you see why I love him?
Wow.
Number 4 came out of nowhere.
Zod just pulled no punches on that one, did he?
That came out of nowhere. Zod, you salty too.
Yeah, you salty boy.
Dirty bastard.
But these are amazingly observant because these are arguments Kent uses. Kent literally says that if he wrote the Bible, he would put things that looked like contradictions in it to weed out the insincere.
Makes so much sense.
To test people, because that's what God's all about, testing people.
I wonder sometimes, like I don't understand it because I'm not in it now, but looking back, when I was a Christian and I did buy into that, you don't really think about it too much. But looking back, it's amazing that, like for myself, that I fell for that. And Paul, I think you probably could feel the same way, since you used to believe as well.
Yeah, I go between anger and shame, or my two friends.
Yeah,
I'm in a perpetual state of shame, so I feel your empathy for you on that one. So, I want to add on the Zod thing, because Zod was nice enough to give 5 things that he felt he had learned from Kent, and obviously Tony Reed has the whole bunch of things he's learned from creationism. So I came up with 10 things of my own that Kent got right, and so I wanted to run them by you guys. What do you guys think? Okay?
Oh, I can't wait to hear what the fuck. Sorry, I swore. What the heck?
You are allowed to say fuck. It's
oh,
okay.
good.
This channel is already demonetized. We're already screwed. YouTube has said basically fuck you, so it doesn't matter.
Okay, it wasn't the 5-minute intro video of going fuck tard.
Yeah. YouTube is not liking. Yeah, they're not liking the format. So
I mean, Aaron, I'm sorry if we're gonna do a Kent
Aaron. No, not
Aaron.
You're right.
Whatever. All right, so let's go over these 10 things. You guys tell me if you think Kent got these right. Okay, and we already went over one of them. First one: dogs do not produce non-dogs.
They don't. No, they don't. Fair.
So it's right. Kent
he's 100% correct
right?
on that.
Right. Kent
Every dog in existence has always given birth to a dog.
+1 to Kent, right?
Yep.
Number 2.
Point, Kent.
Yeah, Paul, can you keep track?
Sure.
2. Earth is not flat.
I'm not certain that I can.
God
damn
it!
To our senior,
God damn it, Kyle!
Senior flat Earth. We need to go to our senior flat Earth correspondent out in the field. He's just joining us live via satellite. Aaron Ra, thank you. Can you tell us the shape of the Earth out there?
So no. Do you agree, Aaron? It's not flat. We need your expertise on this one for some reason.
Yeah, I would definitely say it's not flat. That's true. And I love the most quotable line that I heard out of that entire discussion that somebody mentioned. Somebody wrote it into a Facebook post. And they gave the timestamp for it and everything. At this point, while I'm demanding, what reasons there are to believe that the Earth is flat, Jeranism comes back and says, you don't want reasons, you want facts and evidence.
God damn it, you're such a dick.
Yeah.
What's wrong with you?
Shocker. Yeah.
What possible reason could there be if it's not fact or evidence?
Dude, I'll tell you this before I go on to the number 3. Jeranism has been nothing but messaging me on Skype since that discussion, trying to explain to me this new moon. I've sent him article things, and I'm like, I've so lost interest about 5 hours ago.
Steve, get up to number 5, and then we're going to go to the next. And then we'll do.
But hold on, there are no ontological arguments for the flat Earth.
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
You only want me to do 5 and then do the other 5 afterwards, or?
Yeah, do 5, and then after the next video, we'll do the other.
All right. So number 3, we have been to the moon.
Correct.
All right, Kent plus. He's
well,
up to plus 3.
Why does that?
No,
prove
you haven't. But human race, we have landed on the moon.
Sure.
Okay, so Kent got that right.
Shield all of you.
God damn it, Colin.
You guys are underestimating Kent. Come on, give Kent some due here. He got these things right. So
me and Kyle are going round for round.
The only reason I'll give him credit is for those goddamn awesome Hawaiian shirts that he wears.
That's on my list, but that's later. So let's get okay. So number 4, pine trees cannot mate with elephants. Now wait, to be
I don't know if I believe that yet. I need physical evidence. I need
proof number 1.
Try to find a pine tree.
I want you guys just to envision an elephant being gang raped by a grove of pine trees.
That's all I do in my spare time.
Do you see the eye on this elephant right now, Aaron? It just got huge. Seriously.
There's never been an experiment to demonstrate
Did you just
this.
say that it just got huge? Seriously?
But
yes, I did.
Kent's right on it, correct? Although there's never been an experiment that proves this.
No, but by mate you mean like bring forth, right? Because I'm sure that there's an act or two that they can do.
Oh, I'm sure that elephants have tried maybe once or twice at palm trees, but yeah, they can't.
Like we're violating elephants right now. Like this is supposed to be roasting Kent, not
elephants.
As long as the pine tree gives consent, and they're of age, I don't care what they do.
We all know how popular
that's one
the
of
pine
the things
trees
about
are
the
on the
pine
savannah.
trees. The pine trees don't know how to say no.
This is why he is the greatest
alcohol
world,
on a pine tree Saturday night.
Correspondent ever.
All right, so I'll do number 5, then we'll do the next video. So number 5, Pine trees and elephants are both eukaryotes. He got that right. Finally.
Okay.
So they're the same kind. Like Aaron said, they're the same kind. So come on.
Eukaryotes are a kind?
No, he does not concede that they're a kind.
Yeah, they're both eukaryotic kind.
No, well.
What the actual fuck? What do you mean eukaryotes are a kind?
That was Aaron's argument. Don't blame me.
Before we go into any more,
that's Aaron's argument.
We
and I mean, he's not wrong, actually.
But
But
everything that's alive is a kind.
Well, not just everything that's alive. I'm drinking a different kind of beer that I had yesterday. And I'm drinking it out of a different kind of cup.
You know what? There's probably some active yeast in there. That's a fucking kind. That's a kind.
So we're just five. We'll do the next 5 after the next video.
Okay, so what kind of sunglasses do you wear?
Oh, I shop. I have none. I have none. I only have the kind that make me see things. I only have the seeing shit kind.
See, she has a kind. She has a kind of glasses.
I have the seeing shit kind of glasses. The nerd kind.
Oh.
The nerd kind.
What's the next video?
Frankie, can you hear me?
Yeah. Who is it?
Oh, we got
oh, Kent Hovind.
Yeah.
That
No introduction
name
needed.
slams sphincters shut faster than a Taiwanese boy that sees Ted Haggard coming. Kent, I really didn't think Alabama could be much worse, but when I heard that you were constructing your whole Dinosaur Land thing down in fucking Oxford, Alabama, I was like, sounds about right. I mean, it's the perfect example of, cousin fucking and shit. I actually have a personal bet going with myself as to which one will happen first. Logic finishes his... I personally have a bet going with myself as to who finishes first.
Forgot to edit that out.
Logic ripping apart your life's work or you dying. On that note, Ken, I'm wondering. Exactly, how many colors of crayons did you use to construct your life's work of a dissertation? Were they Crayolas
Hello,
or
my name
just
is
some
Kent
kind of
Hovind.
off-brand shit you get from Walmart? And you know what? I think that Kent's use of bunk science should have been the reason why he got put in jail. But all we had was bad math and shitty bookkeeping. I guess I do.
Fucking love him.
Yeah,
John's the best.
I'm wondering, while Kent was in jail, do you think that he wrote his own book called Of Elephants and Pine Trees?
He should. He really
this is
should
the
now.
part where I say, "Nah, man, I love you, bro," but really I don't. I hope that you don't really affect children anymore, and you don't spread your stupidity anywhere else. Cheers.
And on that note,
Oh, man. I actually, now that I think about it, he did send me a message that I was supposed to, I think, it's been such a crazy day that I think I was supposed to cut one of those.
You're supposed to edit it.
But anyway, we put it out there raw. That's how
We're raw, baby. We're
Just
raw.
fucking raw.
Raw. We like
So before the Aaron video that we play, and we actually have him in person, obviously, which is a nice surprise. But we prepared something. We prepared a statement from Aaron, just in case he wasn't able to make it. But before we get to that, we're going to let Steve finish off this top 5 list, and then the last video for the evening, it will be up right after that with the keynote speaker and the destroyer of everything that is Hovind, Aaron himself.
All right, so the next 5. Number 6, rocks do not evolve. Kent,
Correct.
you got that right, baby. Good for you.
You know what?
Good
Yeah,
for you.
I'm not 100% on board with that, though, because rocks can kind of, through the processes of geology...
Have another drink,
transform-
Shannon. Have another drink.
No,
All right.
you know what? No, don't even. No, I'm not going to. No.
How dare you take this away from him? He only gets 10. Thank you.
Yeah, I only get 10. You didn't bring your 10.
I'm not
All
going
right.
to give you that.
And number 7, 30 minutes with Mr. Intelligent Design would make anybody run away in terror.
I will fucking
That was good call. That was
I
I
did
finally
15, and I have
Now,
never-
Grant, I'm telling you, only like 5 people got that joke, but we'll fill you in later on it, okay? But that one's funny.
because tissue paper and eggs.
Yeah, exactly.
I get it. I get it.
If you got that joke, it's funny. If not, you won't. Yeah, don't bother. We'll tell you later. He got this one right. Number 8, the correct pronunciation of Aaron Ron's name, and he finally got it right after a while because he kept on saying Aaron, and Aaron finally said, "Dude, it's Aaron," and he finally got it right. So I'm going to give him that one. Is that a +1 to him?
That and he kept using the wrong last name.
Yeah, he still does.
Take what you can get, man.
Yeah.
Aaron Smith.
Yeah, I mean, take what you can get.
So technically,
baby steps.
That Ken Hovind got right were at 5.
Yeah, baby steps. I'm working for Kent here on this one.
I
okay?
really
Come on.
like how hard we're working to find things that Kent got right.
I'm trying
Like,
here, man. I'm
no.
trying. I go way back with Kent. Okay, I got to give him a little bit of credit here. Okay, so number 9, and this is one I disagree with Shannon on. I think he has fabulous taste in shirts. I think he got that right.
Bullshit. Kyle,
back me on this one.
why are you in a Hawaiian shirt right now?
Back
then,
me on this.
motherfucker?
Back me on this one, Kyle.
Compliment you're so goddamn fantastic.
Kyle, his shirts are fantastic, right?
I would be dead in a Hawaiian shirt.
Yeah, because
Well, no, but they work for him though. They work for him.
Revoke my card. They would revoke my gay card.
Yeah, but Kyle, they work for Kent, right?
I'm
They work
gonna
for
go
Kent.
get out right in a minute.
Can we revoke Steve's
Apology
gay
of-
card?
Apology of linked
Oh,
a,
girl,
a
my
link
card
to
ain't going
the
nowhere. I'm fabulous.
live chat. Did you get that?
What's that, bud?
I was asking Frankie if Frankie got the link that Apologia sent about Kent actually talking about this roast.
Yes.
Yeah, I want to hear that too. But okay, so but Kyle, you agree with me?
We're gonna hold on one second, Steve.
I got one more.
Oh, my bad. I can't.
Okay.
Keep
I got one more. So, but agree with me on that one. Kent for what he wears, good taste in shirts.
No,
I like
no,
his-
bullshit. No, absolutely.
I'm not gonna wear them but I'm not like
You're
an
not getting
18
good goddamn Hawaiian shirts. I've seen
Not-
better
not-
Hawaiian shirts. No, I refuse. I
We're gonna
refuse.
agree to disagree. All right,
Good
number
part.
10. Number 10.
Oh, puppy.
Number 10. Kent succeeded in proving that it is true that you can't avoid death and taxes. Well, at least half of it. But at
Yep.
his age, you can go anytime, proving the first part is true as well. So
Yeah, that's true. If
We'll
you
give you-
die,
yeah, he could die, and therefore you
avoid taxes.
you can't avoid death and
Your
taxes
estate still has to
because
pay.
we definitely know we can't avoid taxes.
Okay, and now we're going to hear a message from Aaron Ra.
What message is that?
Oh, not you, not you.
Not this Aaron Ra, the pre-recorded Aaron Ra. nobody wants to hear from real live Aaron Ra right now.
And stop lying to other people's kids in our classrooms on science, sex, social studies, and the environment. You have the right to be wrong, and I won't deny you that. Just keep it to yourself, because they have the right to be right, and to be taught things that are actually true, so that our future will seem less reflective of Donald Trump and more like Elon Musk. So stop impeding that and all other progress, get out of the way, and shut the fuck up.
Yeah!
Pretty much
Mic
sums
the
it up.
fuck up.
Yeah, I mean, I have to go with Aaron on this one. Look, we've dealt with Kent for a long time. I've had him on numerous times. We've had 9 or 10 discussions with him. I don't see in the future him doing any longer with us because, after the discussion with Aaron, he felt like he wasn't getting equal time, which was never something we even discussed with him to begin with. He never was guaranteed to be equal time. This was a mano to, get in the ring and see what you got, and he failed. And I don't think that he's going to ever do it again unless he gets the conditions he wants, which I personally will not give it to him. I don't think
There's an easy
Kyle
reason
will.
for that, though. There's an easy reason for that. I think that everybody who's been knocked out by Mike Tyson, if you said, next week we're going to put you back in there, they're going to go, fuck no.
They'd be like, oh, well, let's make sure that, he has to tie one hand behind his back kind of thing. And those are not
Well,
conditions I'm
let's
willing to
ask
give.
the man himself, since he's here, the man himself, since he's here, Aaron Ra.
I don't know what to say. The guy wants equal
That's
time
the
so
first.
that he can tell more lies in a minute than I can correct in an hour. That was his whole game.
Yes.
And he doesn't
Right.
want me to. He doesn't want me to try to reason with him. He wants to talk to an audience past me and then ignore what I say.
Exactly.
And I've seen his game in a number of other debates. It's pathetic and sad, and he cannot address the person he's actually debating. He can't address them directly. I've never seen the Q&A, except where Hovind once demanded evidence of something, and I can't remember what it was that he asked evidence for, but the person he was debating had guessed in advance that Hovind would ask for evidence of this, so he provided a stack.
Bill Ludlow.
Printed out. What?
I think it was Bill Ludlow.
Okay, he brought out a stack. No, this was a live debate on stage.
Oh, live debate. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
Bill,
So he
Bill does
produced-
something similar.
He produced a stack of printed out peer-reviewed articles on that very thing, whatever the thing was.
Yeah.
And Hovind didn't even look at them. He just literally waved his hand at them, turned his head to look the other way, and said, "That's not evidence. That's just a bunch of paper."
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I
So
think
what
exactly
you're saying
right.
is that you will not be at the grand opening of Dinosaur Adventureland, correct?
Come on, Aaron, let's go. I
I-
say we plan a road trip.
But do you see why we build the Aaron Hovind discussion as a discussion, not a debate? I mean, there was reasons why we had planned that out. I did not ever say to Kent he was going to equal time. Never was ever once discussed with him. Although on my other debates with him, I told him he would get equal time, and he did. But this was not set that way because I wanted him to go mono just because why do you want to hear Kent say the same thing that he said for the last 20 years?
The
I could
communication
repeat it
strategy
verbatim.
is seething right now.
Well, let's hear what he has to say about the roast real quick.
Yeah.
I can't believe he's actually going to address the.
By the way, Arn, he stole the 777 Club from you. I don't know. He's been thanking you every night about this. He started a 77 Club based off your 666 Club.
Is that
I have a 666 club.
Wasn't
He
there the
thinks
seven-
you do. He
I
thinks
grew
you
up
have
with
a
the 700
666 club that for your fundraising. So he's trying to get.
Why does he think Aaron is satanic? I no offense to Aaron, but Aaron's definitely not pretty enough to be satanic.
That's what I've been saying.
Yeah, those guys are
I
Metro.
don't know that jacket.
Oh, you know what?
The jacket,
I
that was-
I
yeah,
had
gotta
a
pick the
very
jacket was good.
long chat on the podcast with a Satanist the other day. You know what? You can't judge. You don't know. You don't know. A lot of them are very secretive. You have absolutely no idea if you're talking to somebody and they're a Satanist. You do not know because they don't profess it. They're not interested in
Were
confronting
they
people.
extremely sexy and looked like they shopped at Adam's Family Clothing?
God, no. No, absolutely. Actually, he was wearing a priest. He was wearing
He had a collar. He had an actual
he had a
collar. Yeah.
collar. He was dressed as a priest.
And Shannon
when we
got shit for it. People actually wrote to her going, "You have a person that's like defiling the office of whatever." It's like
Office of.
It was the most backlash I think we've ever had from a podcast. We've had Aaron on.
that is impressive. Yeah.
It was the most backlash we've ever had.
Wait, have you seen our flat Earth discussion? How many hate dislikes we had on that one?
Flat Earth. I watched a part because I like Aaron. I watched some of it, but God, it makes me find it hard. I really do find it hard.
Are we good to go, Frankie?
Yep. Let's roll it.
Let's see what he says.
Mention Aaron Ra's 666 Club and our 777 Club. Yeah. That's
actually
for the other thing. Someone sent me a note today. Who is it that they texted me and said they're going to have tomorrow on Friday the 13th, they're going to have a roast Kent Hovind day where all the atheists are going to have a radio show and attack me about how stupid I am and stuff like that.
It's all right. We're gonna.
I haven't been invited. I haven't been invited to that. I mean,
I
if they would
invited
give
you,
me
Kent.
equal time,
I didn't
which
invite
they
you.
won't, I could answer.
Equal
You
time
can
on a
monitor it.
roast?
We'll do it on our program. Yeah, there we go. If you want to join our 777 Club,
Yeah, wait a minute.
Oh,
I
That's
did
what-
invite him. I didn't even hear back from
Look at this
Ron like I normally do. And
shitty,
why would he get equal
smug-ass
time for
brain.
roast?
Are you implying that Kent Hovind had lied?
I need somebody
I don't
to
think he
close
lied.
up on his face right now because I need to talk to you about body language.
Oh, he has a shitting grin. It's like
No,
it's like,
that is he looked off in the distance. His mouth is pursed. But his dimples are engaged.
he's mad.
No, he's not mad. He's happy with himself.
No, he isn't. He hates us.
He is.
He's getting attention.
He's happy with himself. You can think whatever you want, Steve, but look, his eyes are looked off in the distance. His brows aren't furrowed. They're with his gaze. His mouth is parsed, but his dimples are up. They're not down. He's absolutely pleased with himself.
Who asks for equal time at a
debate?
debate?
He's a narcissist. He's always pleased with himself.
Who asks for
No,
equal
he's
time at a
he's
debate?
pleased with himself in the specifics.
But why? That we did a roast for him?
No, that
he was invited to, but he did not know at the time.
it has nothing to do with the invitation. It has in my estimation, it doesn't have anything to do with the fact that he was or was not invited. It has to do with the fact that it pertains to him.
Sure, narcissist. But I just want to clarify for the audience, when he made this, we had not invited him yet. So to be fair to him.
Oh, that is fair. Yeah.
But I did invite him afterwards.
Well, the thing is though, on that point, the reason that we didn't invite him is because the reason that we're having the roast in the first place is because he wouldn't come back.
Sure, but
said he was
still,
going to come back.
if he wanted to come in, I would have let him.
And sure, yeah, that'd be great. Then we could have actually had discussion part 2 because we've got actually, Ken, if you're watching, we have a lot of ideas for Dinosaur Adventureland. Please come in.
God damn, no.
I want to take a second too to talk about something that's kind of not associated with Kent. Sorry, Kent. We'll get back to you. I promise. But, we are actually working with a university here in North Carolina because in November we are going to actually have Aaron here to do a live debate in front of a actual audience in a historic theater.
This is like a fulfill a wish to Arn. Arn has been dying for something like this.
I think. I think it's going to be. I think a lot of people need to see that. I mean, you've seen the last 2 debates that we've had with him. Whether you like his tactics or not, whether you think he's mean or whatever, you can't deny that he knows things on a level that's just, mind-boggling. That he's just
clarify that. Knows things on a level that's mind-boggling.
Yeah, I do this one thing.
I take issue with.
I do this one thing, so I know the one thing I do. Let's just put it at that.
That's a lot, though.
I know the dogs only give birth to dogs.
Well, I think Aaron's thing is Aaron's like me. We don't suffer fools well. We don't allow people to do runoff with some empty rhetoric. I have no time for that, and I'm sure Aaron doesn't either. Unfortunately, the discussion we had like last night with Zeranism, last night he didn't bring anything to the table. And after an hour of it, we were thinking to ourselves, where is this even going? He brought nothing to the table.
He's got the flat. He does the flat Earth, the evolution. What's interesting to me and
debunking flat Earth is not that hard.
The dinosaur deniers. I actually saw on your channel there are people who deny dinosaurs existed.
Yeah, but it turned out that the woman that I interviewed that was part of that, Christians Against Dinosaurs thing, she was a Poe. She was faking the whole thing.
Yeah.
And I had a pre-interview with her before I began the show, and I told her that I'd been warned by other people that this was all just a gag, and that there was a goal in mind. It was never met. If there was ever a goal, it was never met. And so I said, this won't do if we continue with this interview, because I have to take the perspective that you're really serious. And she pretended that she had no idea what I'm talking about and insisted that she was absolutely legitimate. She refused to break character or even hint that there was a character.
Have you ever heard of Debbie? Have you ever heard of anybody named Debbie?
Do you think she's a Poe?
I know a number of Debbies.
I think Debbie D is, and I'm not going to mention her last name, but I'm just going to call her Debbie D. I just think she has done so much drugs in her life, she doesn't know her ass from a hole.
Oh, no, we can't say that.
That woman, dude, that woman is freaking space cadet. Come on.
We don't want to say that she does.
Well, I didn't mention her last name, so there's no libel.
God damn it,
or
Steve.
slander.
But anyways, Aaron, what do you think about what's been going on with Apologia, and him getting booted from Ken Ham's?
He probably doesn't know.
Oh,
I didn't know.
You didn't see?
No, I didn't.
So
I've been out of town for a week, so I've been mingling with people in real life. I was effectively offline for that whole week, and I just got back a couple days ago, and I've been immersed in trying to catch up on everything. I need to do a certain amount of work in order to catch up.
This is pretty serious.
Yeah, well, Aaron, I talked to you briefly at one point about bringing you up to Alberta for when Ken Ham was here.
Yeah,
and that's happening right now. Anyway, so I was to go, and I was supposed to both be involved with a dinner with him, but then also attend this homeschool conference, which is open to everyone. Well, Answers in Genesis finally figured out that my real name is my channel name, and they what
was their clue?
I deliberately used my real name all the way across. So anyway, they disinvited me from their fundraising dinner, which is fine. But they actually strong-armed the conference into pulling my registration as well for the mere reason that they just couldn't even have me in the audience for what they're going to be doing. So go ahead.
Could I give a slightly more cogent timeline? Sure. What happened? Paul was on the news in November talking about Ken Ham coming to speak in Alberta, and he was very clear that he was all for his rights to come and speak publicly. But he was on the news about it. So some homeschool parents reached out to him and us and were like, you know what, you should learn more about this. This is something that's very, very nuanced. And although we're not on board with Ken Ham representing us, you speaking out about this, you really should educate yourself a little bit more on what our perspective is. So he registered for the homeschool conference that Ken Ham was coming to, partially because he was interested in hearing Ken Ham speak, obviously, and partially because he wanted to really educate himself if he was going to speak publicly about what was going on. And so he did this months ago. In the interim, he had been on the news nationally with the president of the homeschool association that was hosting this conference, which is the biggest in Alberta. The president at the time of this association. So he registered right away. So he'd been registered for this long. 6 months. So cut to 3 days ago. They had sent him an invitation to come to a dinner with Ken Ham. The reason they'd sent him an invitation was because he had purchased things from Answers in Genesis prior, while he was a theist and now. So clearly they pulled an extract from their database that said, you live in Alberta, you have given us money already, we're going to give you a free invitation to come to our fundraiser, and didn't bother to screen that. So they sent him an invitation as part of an auto invite, would be my guess, right? Mm-hmm. So he got that invite, and of course he responded to it because he read through it and he was like, well, clearly I can respond to it. I can't bring anybody that's dissenting, but I can respond to it. This is long after he's already registered for the conference. The conference is a separate entity from this. Ken Ham just happens to be the keynote speaker, and he just happened to get this invite, all separate instances. The head of Answers in Genesis Canada realizes 2 days ago that Paul, because he registered under his own name, because he was being very, very transparent, because he had no interest in causing any issues.
Stop being so honest, Paul.
Yeah, right. That's his problem. Clearly, he'd registered in his own name because he's very, very honest. They recognized his name because they had written a scathing article that called him a disgruntled father after not contacting him at all, just because he had been critical of the fact that Ken Ham was speaking. Disinvited him to the dinner that they were having. Fine. Me and Paul had a conversation about this. Yeah, obviously, it's a fundraising dinner. You know that I'm not a person that's necessarily going to fundraise for you. You know that's fair. These things are fair. Cut to 2 days later. The conference is 5 hours away. Paul's about to drop off Bella. Bella is his beagle. He is in the parking lot to drop off his dog to the kennel so that he can go to the conference. After speaking to homeschool parents, saying to them, you know what, I really do want to educate myself on what the issues are that matter to you, because people are contacting me because they know I'm an expert in Ken to speak in a public forum. I want to make sure that I'm representing all of the nuances of this argument, and I'm interested in seeing Ken. Let's be honest, I'm interested in seeing Ken, but it has never been disruptive. Has been to Ken's goddamn museum and sat in the audience of Answers News and not caused a disruption. That was his chance. He didn't do it. Obviously, he's not disruptive. Gets an email from the president of the Homeschool Association saying, even though you registered 6 months ago, essentially, you're no longer invited anymore. We're going to refund you your money, and now you can't even come 5 hours before it starts. In a snowstorm in Alberta while he's in the parking lot about to drop his dog off to the kennel. Do not tell me that's not because somebody at AIG didn't lean on the Alberta Homeschoolers Association and say, hey, we don't like this guy because he tells the truth about the things that we say, and we don't want him here to report back to anybody. It's targeted discrimination, and those assholes wander around the internet talking about how people discriminate against Christians when they want to be bigoted against gay people and infiltrate schools. And they have the nerve to do something like this and act like it's okay. I'm sorry, but I'm pissed.
As well you should be.
That's why I don't let Shannon tell the story.
Yeah. It's good that she did. I like the take she has on it. I don't know how Paul would have phrased it, but I have the feeling that he wouldn't have been so enthusiastic.
I tried to be more tempered, but I obviously.
But she's detailed. I mean, she is detailed. I mean, what she said is very, very detailed.
Don't mess
she protects me well. So
don't mess with my boyfriend. Mess your ass up.
I've actually been getting reports from inside the conference while this show has been going on, and it sounds like they've been. There's one reporter in contact with me now that they booted a reporter as soon as they found out they were a reporter.
Well, isn't this going to look worse for them? I mean, now that they've booted a reporter, and obviously, I think they're going to probably have you give a quote or something. I mean, they're going to be in touch with you in some way.
Well, not only that, like I was on the news today already, and then there's two. I'm going to be probably on national news.
Why would they want? But why would they want the negative publicity? I don't get it.
That's the ridiculous point about it, because how can the Alberta Homeschool Association say that it was because Paul was giving them negative press or whatever? Because he was in the news with the president in November. If they were going to rescind his invitation, they could have done it then.
Is a rise in that that kind of authoritative move that is shifting in religion?
Well, somebody made a phone call to them.
I mean, that direction, and when they close ranks like that and just give zero fucks about it, I think that what they're doing is actually putting out a signal that, hey, we may have been, pushed around and let people say whatever they wanted to about us before, but we're not doing that anymore.
I've heard plenty of stories in Kentucky about public school teachers having to bow to the pressure that Ken Ham applies.
That's absurd.
Yeah. That's even more ridiculous.
That's totally ridiculous. And they should have said, look, we have somebody joining us. His name's Apologia. He runs a channel. He's against creationism. But you know what? We're going to invite him anyways. We want him to see what we have to offer. We want him to see the truth. That's how I would have approached it if I would have been Ken Ham.
They didn't even have to invite him. He paid to go to this conference.
Well, they did invite him. No, they initially didn't invite him. But, I mean, they didn't follow through with it, which I think was a complete wasted opportunity for positive image management. Because if they would have invited Paul, they're like, hey, we have a detractor who has a channel that's against us. But you know what? In the loving thing of Christ and the loving thing of Christianity and the fact that we want to explain to him the way the truth is and everything, have him come on. We have nothing to fear from him. We'll take his criticisms, but they don't do that.
Terms of service on that contract that you are
I poured through it several times before I even registered, and there's no stipulations that you have to have any ideology or even be a parent, even though I am, all those things. But they did have the massive disclaimer that we can turn down any applicant for any reason at our full disclosure. And I knew that signing up that was, they've got themselves covered with that. Like I have no legal recourse against them. It's just, it looks bad. And now the news, we have two major stations in Canada and they both called me tonight looking for interviews. So this is going to look terrible.
Yeah, that's outstanding, and they chose the right guy to talk to. I can't wait to see the rest of that.
Yeah, make you know what? Go after them in the news. Go after them.
I want to see news clippings.
Damn right.
I
which
will send them your
probably
way.
won't see in Texas unless somebody shares it on their channel.
Well, we're
I'll
Canada's
tag you, Aaron.
Texas, so.
Yeah.
And
Has that ever
apparently,
happened
I
to
was
Lauren?
mentioned at the fundraiser. So they, I had an insider at the fundraiser who said they talked about this skeptic with a YouTube channel a few times with contempt and almost spitting when they had to say that.
Wow.
Yeah, I understand that Ken Ham dedicated a good portion of one of his speeches to ridiculing me.
Yeah. There's a club, you and Paul.
I was ready to ask them.
Damn, I felt like the outskirts of, I'm like not special enough.
It's repulsive. Like, they criticized Paul. They said that he doesn't understand how homeschooling works, and they said that he doesn't understand their perspective, and that they wrote an entire goddamn article on their stupid Answers in Genesis pseudo news website, just completely just.
But Shannon,
ridiculing him, and then they have the absolute he, with honest intentions, had the intent to go there and be a silent observer and learn, and they blocked him from doing that. Why?
But what's he going to do? How was he going to be the vice rhino? That's the main. That's the main.
I could have covered too.
And now I'm getting the impression that had Pelosi been able to raise the funds to get me up to Alberta, I might not have been able to get in either.
Clearly not.
You definitely would have been out.
Probably not. But Shannon, did you and Paulogia not spend several weeks learning about homeschooling?
Yes, we joined every Alberta homeschool.
So you're doing your due diligence
and talked to the parents themselves.
So what is their issue? I'm so lost. Whoever's in charge of these groups, they're fucking up rarely. They don't know how to take a negative and make it to a positive. They don't know. They don't understand it.
They would have been better off just like, why block him? Just let him.
That's my point. That's my point. They're fucking up rarely. They should have taken it and used it as a positive.
Like,
no,
it makes
they didn't.
It look like you have something to hide.
Exactly.
Because he has no history of causing any sort of disturbance. There was no movement built behind him. There was no build up to him going. That the only reason they had from removing him was AIG found out that they accidentally invited him to a dinner because they're stupid as fuck. The president of AIG Canada called him to say, you're disinvited to the dinner. Then realized, oh shit, I wonder if he's going to the convention. Reached out to the people that were running the convention, and they were like, oh shit, he is. And then they had a board meeting and were like, what are the pros and cons?
Key, though. What you're saying is, you know that you have something, or you're making a difference and a change when the president of AIG calls you personally to revoke your invitation, and then the president of the homeschool. So, I mean, you're dealing with the
public conference.
Paul?
Yep.
American atheists might want to talk to you, or have you talked to them?
They're having problems among American atheists right now, as you guys may have known. David Silverman just got released.
What I'm saying is,
there's still an organization that functions.
The next National Convention of American Atheists is in Cincinnati, Ohio.
Oh,
nice.
A 20-minute drive.
There you go.
From the Ark
From both of them, yeah, from both the museum and the different
best of both
directions.
worlds, huh?
Wouldn't Paul be a great guest there?
Absolutely.
Do you have connections, Aaron? Because
Gosh, do I have connections with American atheists? I don't know.
Yeah, you know what, Aaron? You have me on Twitter. Please DM me.
But Aaron,
Paul. Yes.
But Aaron, do you have connections to the South Pole?
I think you're my connection to the South Pole.
No, Landon's your connection to the South Pole. I'm your connection to Landon, and he's your connection. I will figure it out. It's crazy.
That's a good idea. You would be great for.
I agree, Paul. Do it. Make it happen.
Even if they don't invite you to speak, I mean, it would be a lot of fun to have you in Cincinnati.
I would love to. No, that's.
Do it.
I haven't. So I did the Creation Museum. I haven't done the Ark yet. I do wonder if my face is now behind the desk at those places. Do not let in.
Office with a bunch of monitors.
Which face?
You have a picture up there.
Which face?
When I worked at Lucasfilm, we had that. It was great. There was a big wall of faces. Do not let in.
Yeah.
But is it the Paul face or the rhino face or the cartoon face?
Paul
I mean,
face.
on this show, you've been three different things.
Paul's face is the cutest face.
Should we make plans to go to Dinosaur Adventureland as a group, though?
Yes, please.
I'm okay with that. You guys want
We're
to
going to Dinosaur Adventureland. Are you
I got to tell you, I was in Pensacola, and I was driving very close to this Dinosaur Adventureland, and I was tempted because I had a little bit of time. I was tempted to just sidetrack, however, 20 miles or whatever it is, but I felt like it would be harassing an old crazy person.
I'll tell you what, maybe
Essentially.
maybe next year we'll consider it. We'll make a trip to there. I don't know.
It opens in 9 days, so I think we should all be at the Grand.
I want to do something live.
you're
I do. I didn't go to Faithless Forum, maybe next year, but I want to do something
I'm
live.
going next year.
Actually, what I want to do is start the when is it going to close pool.
How long till traffic?
How many days?
Well, my toast is, may it last as long as his second marriage.
Oh,
this is the roast.
That right there is the.
Get it out of the way now, Arn. Get it out of the way now. Nobody can blame you now. It's the roast.
That was all of our videos, and I think we're pushing on 2.5 hours. I think that we've said probably all that we can say about.
Since we changed it from Ken Hovind to Ken Ham, I want to throw out one more thing.
Sure.
I got an invitation a couple of weeks ago to debate Dr. Walt Brown. Anybody know who that is?
Walter Brown.
Dr. Brown was the guy that invented the hydroplate theory. In a sense, he invented young Earth creationism. He invented creation science with a book, I think, of the same name that was released in the early 70s. So when his people contacted me and asked me if I would debate him, I'm like, shit, sure I would. That guy's still alive?
I thought he was dead, actually.
I did too.
I thought he was dead.
He's 86 years old. He's 86 years old.
Good for
Do
him.
they know what they're doing?
My wife told me not to debate him because I would kill him.
Oh, bless her heart.
And I said, the guy, the way that he lives now, he's got to be a lich already, so it wouldn't matter, right? So anyway, I accept the invitation. I accept the terms, and I even laid out a fair price, I think, and certainly fair. And after accepting all that and being all forward gung ho about it, they then tell me that he's changed his mind, or he's refusing to do it because I don't have a PhD. As a matter of fact, that was the last thing they asked me. Okay, we got all this set up, but Brown says you'll only debate a PhD. Do you have a PhD?
Are you shitting me?
What? First of all, I don't remember Brown being alive. News to me. But they really brought that to your attention because we know PhDs. We know a lot of PhDs. We can easily find a PhD that'll go against Brown.
Yeah, well, I said the same. I've got a group of
easily.
People, any one of them would throw their name in the hat and let me do all the work.
Yes,
but
exactly.
Brown got more persnickety than that. He wanted to make sure that whoever it was named as the person that Brown is debating, and he demanded that it be in writing, so that there would be no way ever that I'd be on stage addressing Brown's personal audience, because I said that's what I want.
Right.
I said
was it a
creationists
stage
don't
debate?
need a debate.
You see how dishonest they are. See how they're so they cannot
that's
stand up to
about
fair
stipulations.
scrutiny.
Yeah, that's the cherry on top. Is that the letter that was forwarded to me from Walt Brown said that I was being dishonest for having accepted the challenge issued to me without having a PhD first.
Oh my God! You know what I recommend? This is what you are. I have an idea. Save up $3,000. You mail it to Bible Patriot University, and your PhD.
Is it $3,000? Why can't I do it for $100 like Ken Hovind did?
But no, I think
inflation, Aaron.
Yeah, inflation. Like 100. This is years later, dude.
Oh my God!
I invited Inane in. I'm sorry, I didn't
love
ask.
Inane.
I know, I love
Inane
Inane. That's why I was like, I just invited him in for the hell of it.
Aaron's familiar with what Inane knows because he was in the hangout with Crocoduck and I, where we were talking about inspiring philosophies, breakdown of the brain and the spirit, and
Well, before we move into something else real quick, I want to touch on this on a serious note real quick with Aaron. I think that that right there is a pitiful excuse for somebody to not choose to debate someone.
Absolutely.
There's got to be if he submitted the the invite to debate you, number one, then he must know something about you. So it kind of far-fetched to think that he wouldn't already know that you're not already a PhD. But the fact that he maybe thought that you were is a testament to your knowledge and the way that you debate. So he got to know you on some level. But hold on 1 second, Steve. But I think that maybe what it was is he got into actually watching some of the debates that you've had with, just people out on the street, and nobody wants to look like an idiot or to be embarrassed. I mean, that's just bottom line. They're going to, number one, protect what their asset is, and their asset in this case is a total bullshit lie. So any attempts to kind of put that in a jeopardy where it might look like I don't know what I'm talking about, or somebody's going to kind of make me look bad, they're not going to want to do. So he's going to pull a shady tactic of saying that you lied about not having a PhD that you never lied about in the first place. It's just ridiculous.
That might be true, but why does he want something with a PhD? No offense to anybody, but Brown's theory is so fucking ridiculous. Anybody with a college level understanding of physics can disprove his shit.
And it doesn't matter what the PhD is in.
Yeah,
a doctorate in anything.
Yeah, that makes it even dumber. Then. Okay, so you got a PhD in horticulture or something, and you're going to be talking about physics with him because the hydroplate deals with a lot of physics or geology. What the fuck does it matter? I don't understand this at all.
Statistics.
Yeah, one of my oldest and best friends ever has a PhD in, I think it's literature. So yeah, I mean, I could put her in, and half a dozen other people that would gladly do this and let me do all the work.
But
it's a matter of
Brown
statistics,
refused. Brown insisted that other person had to do all the work and not me.
I think he's delusional.
But he was setting up the parameters such that I could not get credit for debating him no matter what we did. So it had to be the PhD, regardless of what the doctorate is in, and it could not be me. I can't get the credit for it. Why? Because I would just waste him, and he needs a PhD in anything so that he can pull himself up by someone else's bootstraps and make himself look important.
That's sad.
It's pure
if
gatekeeping.
You see this, Walt Brown, if you see this and you stand behind what you believe and your theory, and you think that that's actually what it is, and you know that you can stand behind it, then stand behind it and take on somebody that
Brown
is more knowledgeable than any PhD that you'll ever get on the stage with you, no matter where you look.
If he knew anything about who I am, I mean, he wouldn't. If he thought he had anything to go with, if he thought he had game, he would have accepted my challenge, or the challenge he issued to me, essentially. But he didn't, and he did everything he could to avoid that, and it shows his hand. He's got a pair of deuces. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
That's a win for you, though. I mean, that's a win for you.
Yeah.
But anyways, Anane, I invited you in, so you might as well throw your 2 cents out there. By the way, welcome, my friend.
Well, thank you for inviting me. I was in the middle of watching something on the NonSequitur Show about the roast of Kent Hovind, and all of a sudden I got a random invite.
You watch our stuff? Oh my god! Oh my god! I'm flattered. You silly drag.
But this screams gatekeeping to me. I work with PhDs on a regular basis, and the flat-out answer. I work with rockets. I don't work with the rocket scientists at NASA. I work near them. But the short answer is that nobody who has the qualifications that he wants to put out there as being necessary to debate him is going to waste their time debating him.
Exactly.
I told his people.
I'll make one exception.
I told his people exactly that. I told them what the game is, the illusion he's trying to set, and I said whatever we have to do so that he has to change his Wikipedia entry where he says no evolutionist will debate him, because damn Skippy I will, and I will waste him. And my goal is to address his audience. And I know they won't read a debate, so I want it to be a live debate, so that looking all satanic as fuck as I am, I would still change the minds of his audience right with him standing there.
All right, I'll tell you what I'll do. A friend of mine, Dr. Gary Lachelt, who's a PhD in...
Gary's great.
Gary's great. He has said to me he will debate Dr. Baumgartner on Brown's hydroplate theory and some other things. I can almost guarantee if I got in touch with Gary and said, hey, look, I have a connection now to Brown. He's willing to debate somebody. I think Gary Lachelt would do it because he wants to debate somebody on Brown's theory. What best to do is debate him directly. So if you can make that happen.
Because of how he did Oren. I mean, I don't think it's right to. to even entertain the guy now because of how he.
It's part of his strategy, though. It's part of.
What
his
did you say? Oh, this guy does a PhD.
Well, then why should we play into his strategy?
No, I agree with you. That I agree with you.
We just make the public statement.
Arn for a second. Let me talk to Arn for a second about communication strategies. This guy's communication strategies, even though you have cogent arguments, and you do, and you're educated, he's appealing to authority, essentially saying nobody unless they're at this level is capable of refuting my arguments, which is bullshit. I agree with you that that's bullshit, but that's the bar that he's setting. The reason he's setting that bar isn't for your audience and isn't for people that are cogent and for people that are capable of understanding the arguments. The reason he's setting that bar is to set himself as an authority and make it seem like nobody in authority is willing to refute him. The reason that nobody in his definition, his arbitrary assignment of definition of authority is willing to refute him is because they have fucking better shit to do because they're doing actual fucking science.
Oh, I think you're right on that. Yes.
Like, even though anybody, even though not anybody, I'm sorry, that's poor wording. Even though anybody who's gone out of their way to educate themselves on a higher level in this field could refute him and could have cogent arguments against him, that's terrifying. Because they could have cogent arguments against him that he can't refute, he has to set the bar higher and make it look like those are the only people that are on an equivalent level with him.
Yeah.
That's why
he's placating to his audience.
Way to argue against these people, because the people that are his audience, the people that you want to turn, they see that as a reason that he's an authority. And people like him are an authority because they look at that and they think, well, obviously nobody who's at the level that, air quotes, he's at is able to refute him. And that's not the goddamn case, but that's the game they play. You have to play their game.
Well, that's what I'm saying, though. By playing their game, why would you not put, Dr. Lachelle with him? I mean, he would. I happen to like Gary. The guy's smarter than shit. I was even blown away. I've been around very smart people before. This dude is freaking brilliant.
We should.
Yeah, but again, he wouldn't let it be a live debate. He insisted that.
Wait, what?
That's right. Yeah. He insisted that in writing.
Oh, fuck that bullshit. No, I'm done.
No.
I'm done. No, that's
I told his people, I've noticed from past experience that creationists don't read written debates. Only scientists would read that.
Yeah, no, that's horseshit right there.
Speaking of not being able to do a platform, though, I noticed that Kent, going back to Kent has still not posted the mirror that he promised to post of your discussion, Arn.
Would you?
So, well,
and by the way, we noted that the video that the introduction to this show, it actually noted that Steven Anderson. I clipped it together where he was saying, you haven't even told people about what's going on. That was a reference to the fact of that very thing that Kent has not put the Arn Ra Kent Hovind discussion on his channel, and I don't think he will.
But he talks about it all the time.
Oh, he talks about it. Oh yes. But he will not upload it to his channel because he came across with a very poor performance, and he's there to do one thing: placate to his audience. He doesn't want to look bad in front of his audience.
Yeah, and after that show with you guys, I went to his Facebook, and his fans on his Facebook were saying that they should have found a better opponent for me.
I'm in this group. I want to share an anonymous tweet, an ominous tweet that I got this morning concerning this. I meant to read it earlier, but I had forgotten about it. It was left by I'm not gonna say who, but they said that Kent Hovind has been having the negative reviews off of his theme park removed. He can't stomach being called out. I woke up yesterday to a Facebook message about it, and they were stating this and warning me for some reason. So I'm trying to get more into that. But
talking about like Yelp reviews?
I
think there are other things, but
they say they're being warned about comments.
I cannot wait for the Yelp reviews.
Yeah, and I'm thinking there's probably only one road to this Dinosaur Adventureland, and surely the billboards on that road can't be that expensive.
Ooh, they should make a movie about that.
Oh wait.
3
That's a
billboards.
good
I
idea.
suddenly need to rent a few billboards.
We need to put the.
I'll be back.
GoFundMe.
We need to put a check out this video, guys. Before
I was gonna say put this URL to this video up there. There you go. Put the NonSequitur Show up there. We're good with that.
But yeah, anybody else want to?
Well, I do want to add on something to what Arn said, because I'm in a lot of those groups that he's in, and I've seen the Hovindites even say they thought Arn did a really piss poor job.
That I did a piss poor job?
No. They thought Hovind did a piss poor job.
Okay.
Even his own people thought he didn't do very well. And so they were like, well, you need to talk to this person. So we have actually had talked to somebody the other night, and this was off air. Not to go into details about it, obviously, but we might be arranging some actual, how should I say it, the PhDs of the the creationist movement to come in. Somebody like Jason Lyle or somebody like Dr. Shavati. Well, we already have Nathaniel Jensen.
Nathaniel Jensen to be September the 5th, by the way.
Yeah, we already have that one.
I read that goddamn book.
Biologist Nathaniel Jensen. He wrote the book Replacing Darwinism. He will be on here September the 5th at 8:00.
But we are working on some other ones as well. So
if you manage to pull Lyle, all I can say is get Martimer.
That would be awesome.
Oh yeah.
By the way, somebody actually, I had the weirdest comment the other day. Somebody said that I sound like Martimer. I didn't see the correlation, but hey, thank you very much for that. I was flattered, but I didn't see the correlation.
We had an interesting discussion the other night on the gun debate. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. But he is an actual MD that is a young Earth creationist. So I think we're going to try to get him with.
We're going to work on him like we did with Eric. Think Easy.
But that was an interesting talk. I think that we kind of realized that for some reason we have a harder time getting anybody on the young Earth creationist side in the PhD field than anything.
Absolutely.
We've had, and that to me, that's why I'm one of those people like with I don't think PhDs, it doesn't mean anything to me. Like I don't put them in a different category than anybody else. I think it's based on how you perform and what you can show that you know. But with the young Earth creationist field, I mean, it's hard to get anybody to.
Yeah, they're a lot more skittish. Like we can get old Earth creationists. Like I can get Hugh Ross and we can get Fuzz Ron, and they will be.
Can't get the young Earth creationists.
But I can't get the young Earth, and we can get PhD Christians. I mean, S.J. Thomason, she has a PhD. So what? I mean, she's articulate. She has a good argument, or at least a good discussion. I looked for that.
Same one that cowered from me already, right?
Who's that?
The one. Are you talking about the? No, maybe it was somebody else.
That's a long list, Darn.
Yeah, and there was a challenge made that we should do a debate on somebody's show, and I thought it was this show, but maybe it wasn't, and she backed down. I thought the initials were SJ.
I don't know. She's in the audience.
That's Stephanie, right?
It's Stephanie.
Yeah.
She's already backed down from me.
Oh wait, let's find out. Stephanie's in the audience because I don't remember.
Yeah, she's talking. I've talked to Stephanie on multiple occasions.
Yeah.
Yep. I don't think that she would.
She's not the back down type. She's the pick the topic type, though. She understands that she has specific areas of specialty that she feels competent to speak to, and she's not the type of person that would say I'm competent to speak to everything. So if you propose something that she didn't feel like she had a competency in, I don't think.
Yeah, she might say this is not my field, right? I guess.
Yeah, the same as me. Like if somebody was like, "Let's talk about physics," I would be like,
well, I really want SJ. I want Stephanie and Carrier one of these days so bad.
Did somebody ask her about Arn? If she backed down from Arn, I'm interested to know.
She says, "I'm in Arn. Let's debate."
It wasn't even supposed to be a formal debate. It was just supposed to be a casual conversation where we speak directly instead of through fucking Twitter.
Really? SJ, you better.
That's surprising. SJ, she's not a coward.
About her, and she says, "I'm in Arn."
Yeah, disagree. People can disagree with her all they want, but I have not seen SJ cower down to anything.
No, God, no.
No, so I mean,
SJ,
I got to
you better not let me find out that you didn't.
That doesn't sound like her. I don't know if we're thinking of the same person.
No, Christian apologist.
I know cows. I deal with
I
them.
think
all
I
the
can
time.
find the tweet.
Oh no, she's out there now. I'm in there. I'm in, Arn.
She says she's in.
What's the topic? I don't know what the hell they're debating about. I don't know
Whatever.
what
Well, my original plan was just to talk to her directly rather than trying to discuss something complex.
Get her
in
right now if
140
you
characters.
want.
She frequently comes after Richard Carrier. I know
Well,
her.
let's get her in there and find out what the hell they want
Well,
to
she
talk
wants to
about.
complain about what Richard Carrier says. She's going to have to talk to Richard Carrier.
That's what I think. Yeah, I agree with you there. Sure.
But I think this is SJ. This is a good idea. We'll plan a day for you to come in and just have a chit chat with Arn, because I know SJ doesn't. I didn't think she would.
Yeah, she's got balls. She doesn't back down.
You got cojones. Say what you want about it. I know she's not real liked on Twitter, and she can be pretty aggressive. But I happen to think she's awesome because she stands her ground and she's not an idiot. What else do you want?
We disagree with almost absolutely everything either one of us say, and we still get along.
Exactly. That's it. But I don't like people that do the hit and run approach. I don't like the people that do the sophistry, at least the bad sophistry. I like good sophistry. But this negative, empty rhetoric, like we experienced the other night with journalism and Arn, I can't deal with. I have no patience for it at all. It's not a conversation.
Arn and SJ would be a really good chat. Actually.
Arn and SJ would be good, but I don't know about what though.
Well, she wrote a long passage, some kind of article where she was pretending to refute something that I had at one of my presentations, and then Wolf McNamara wrote a even longer refutation of her refutation, showing how she was wrong on every point she posted. And she kept reposting her original blog without, of course, mentioning that McNamara had already refuted it all.
I'll debate something on ATP synthase that's not a turbine.
There's a starting one, I think.
Actually, I had Arn help me on that one about a year or two ago. But
so yeah, everybody. I think that's a good. Unless anybody else has anything.
I just want to plug that there's a young earther who I've never heard speak to an atheist tomorrow. It's Ben Shetler, who was a longtime co-host of Creation Today with Eric Hovind, and he's talking to Shannon tomorrow.
Nice. I want to hear that. I'll listen to that.
Yeah, he was Eric Hovind's co-host on Creation.
He's still young.
Time and channel.
Who is
He's still a young earther.
It's going to be at 8 p.m. Eastern on Godless Cranium's channel on the Heathen Hour podcast.
I will be in the live chat.
Coming on.
I will be in the episode May the 12th.
And I'll be in the live chat because I'm not invited and I don't want to be. But I'm looking forward to that. I want to hear that.
Don't be salty.
I'm not salty. No. We know what people need to invite Kyle to more things. So if
we're ever talking about what an agnostic is, which we won't fucking do, and I won't be a part of it, we'll invite you.
Hey, you know what? I have an interview on this Sunday about something completely different. So.
Arn, is there anything that you have
on a Christian channel
going on that you'd like to tell us about or plug before we go?
Nothing I'd like to plug right now. I'm just I got to get back. I mean, I did a couple of out-of-state trips, and now I'm way behind. So it's going to be a while before I do anything else. I'm going to the American Humanist Association National Convention in May 17th or thereabouts. That's my next trip out of town, and I've got an awful lot of work to do between now and then.
Excellent. Well, at some point we'll get with you on the essay thing whenever you calm down. And,
we'll figure it out.
And also, Arn, I'm retweeting at you right now the thing about Paul. No, I'm not even kidding because I'm so pissed off about this.
She is livid.
No, the thing about Paul being blacklisted from this creation, like if you could retweet this for me, I'm going to tag you in it because
I'd be happy to retweet that. And Paul, I'm very proud of you.
Amen.
That was some bullshit, Paul. That was some
bullshit. You done got fucked. Seriously.
Oh, you're a good
done dirty.
The videos, the type of videos
done
that
dirty.
you put out, and
that's a good way to put it. Done dirty.
The information and everything that you put into your work. I mean, it shows, and you're a really good role model, I think, for the community, no doubt. Actually, everybody in this call except for Steve, I would.
It is what it is.
Sir, I take that as an insult. I'm never a good influence.
We love you all out there too. You're role models, except for
I'm sorry. How many people have left Yoga Creationism because of me? Quite a few.
All of them, Steve. Everybody that has ever left Younger Creationism.
They'll watch Arn's video, and then I'll have to explain to them.
No doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt. Remember that, guys, and thank you for joining us for the roast. Kent, if you watched and you stayed with us this long, then maybe you're not as bad as I thought. But thank you for at least coming on that one time to finally give people a chance to see just how many holes exist in that argument. And you may call evolution the dumbest thing that's ever existed. It's the devil's work. But your side of the conversation couldn't hold up past question number 1. And when you couldn't move from side to side and left to right and ask about this or throw this in there, when you were held to that one simple question by somebody who was not going to let you out of that one question, it all fell apart. And that's the ultimate goal that people need to take away from young Earth creationism, is that when you hold it to a standard of, is this true? Is there evidence for this? It will fall apart quicker than a Aaron Ra and Kent Hovind discussion number 2 will. Good night.
Good night.